19 miles an hour at the moment, blowing in and toward Wright, and that's going to be as much a part of the story this afternoon as the Dodgers and their bullpen by committee against Jacob Turner. We'll get to the pitchers soon enough, but first, closed captioning of today's game is brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. Der fun since '61, and the Dodgers now 7 games left, their final road game of the regular season. Caught a break last night when Andrew Kashner beat the Giants 3-2. The Dodgers blew it, of course, yesterday 8-7. 4 runs in the bottom half of the 7th inning for the Cubs and 2 more in the bottom of the 8th. And so the Dodgers begin this day with a magic number of 5. Of course, then they fly home in the big 3-game series with the Giants, and Don Mattingly's going to be juggling today. Of course, it's going to be Jamie Wright to begin, and then just about anybody and everybody else as the game progresses. Here's the lineup that Mattingly's put together for today. It'll be Gordon and Puig and Gonzalez. D. Gordon continues to be absolutely red hot. A 13-game hitting streak, 8 consecutive games where he's had at least 2 base hits, and he's 4 of 6 against the Cubs starter. After that, it's Puig and Gonzalez. Adrian with 2 home runs and 5 runs batted in yesterday. He is now the Major League leading RBI man. Kemp and Ramirez and Crawford. Uribe has enjoyed his time since coming off the disabled list. 4 for 5 against Turner, as a matter of fact. And in 17 games since coming off the DL, Uribe is hitting a mere .387. A.J. Ellis is catching, and perhaps Jamie Wright will be batting 9th. We'll find out soon enough as the Dodgers get ready for a very important game.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting game to watch Don Mattingly manage, because depending on how the game starts depends on what pieces from the bullpen we'll see behind Jamie Wright.
It's a matter of what, whom, and when. And so this is going to be a fascinating game. This is one of those games that takes place where necessity is the mother of invention. Desperate times calling for desperate measures. However you choose to look at it. Jacob Turner is going with the Cubs. And Turner making his 7th appearance and his 5th start since coming over to Chicago. A record of 1 up, 3 down, and a .643 ERA.
Yeah, the former first rounder for the Detroit Tigers was claimed off waivers, was designated for assignment earlier in the year in August for the Florida Marlins. And what he comes at you with is a fastball that hovers around 92 to 93 miles an hour. He's got a good tight slider as well, an occasional curveball, and a changeup that, when is down in the zone, has some good downward movement to it. So what gets him his trouble is when he's not being able to have his command, get him up in the zone and take advantage once again.
Turner 1-3 at an ERA just short of 8 in his last 4 starts, and 0-1 in 3 career starts against the Dodgers with an ERA of over 8. And the Dodgers, of course, offensively have been flexing their muscles, so you would think, at least coming into this game, the Dodgers offensively have their eyes squarely on Jacob Turner. Defensively behind Turner, it's going to be Valbuena and Baez on the left side of the infield. Chris Valaika, Southern California boy, at second base. Anthony Rizzo at first. Chris Coughlin coming off the best day of his Major League career yesterday. 2 home runs, a double, a single, and all he did was knock in 3. Killed the Dodgers yesterday. Alcantara is in center. Matt Caesar in right, and Wellington Castillo is catching. Giants and the Padres, they'll be playing about the time the Dodgers board the flight to head back to Los Angeles to get ready for the San Francisco Giants. So we enter the final week of the regular season. The Dodgers at 88-67, a 3.5 game lead over the Giants. So the wind is going to be an issue today, as we mentioned right off the bat. And when it blows out, there are runs aplenty. When it blows in, it becomes a pitcher's duel. And there's Jamie Wright getting ready for his first start since a year ago, and his second start since 2007. So Gordon at .293 with a couple of home runs and 33 runs batted in. Of course, he leads the major leagues with infield hits, triples, and stolen bases. D yesterday was 2 out of 5, stolen base and a run scored, and the throw to first base gets him by a step. Valbuena in and throws him out. We're underway.
He swung away at the very first pitch, fouled it off, maybe thinking then they're going to think he's going to swing, tried to sneak the bunt down there, but Valbuena was there and got it very well. It wasn't one of D's best bunts, but it gave him a chance.
Yeah, you'll see that with these teams. Even though he swings away, they're still going to stay in because he has the reputation of not being afraid to bunt even when he has 2 strikes.
Yasiel Puig, boys, he turned it around lately, and he has enjoyed facing the Cubs in his young career. Puig is back to 300, 15 home runs, and 66 runs batted in. Off to the right, out of play, and it's 0-1.
As you see the direction of the flags today with the wind blowing out to right, it's kind of a crosswind. And Nomar, you played here. You said maybe the ball to left knocked down?
Yes, left to knock down, so righty's trying to pull it, but for left-handers, them pulling the ball, and also a right-hander who can stay inside, it can carry out over to right field.
Puig has had quite a road trip inside. 2 home runs, 6 runs batted in, 11 runs scored, a .488 on base percentage, and he's hitting a mere .421 in the 9 games on this trip. Early part of September, Yasiel had trouble getting out of his own way.
And you know what, you mentioned the wind, Oral, that I say it's going to right field, especially with the right-hander. For some of these guys, Yasiel, especially with his struggles, and we've talked about how hot he is right now, it's a good approach for him. Gets out of his slump when he's thinking about right field. Not necessarily that he has to hit it there, but when you're thinking about and that's your approach, good things happen. Him and both Hanley Ramirez.
On 1 and 2. We go around. Greg Gibson, the first base umpire, and Yasiel Puig gets a reprieve from the governor.
We might have caught a break right here. Yasiel looked like he went, oh, no, he did a good job.
Gosh, those are some strong wrists.
It was my old pitching eyes that thought he went.
The 2-2. Puig at Wrigley Field again. He's been with the Dodgers about a year and a half. 13 for 23. That's a .565 average. 2 home runs, 9 runs scored. The 2-2. When you're hot, you're hot. Didn't hit it hard. Perfect placement. Puig is aboard, a 1-out single to right.
Well, he's able to fight that one off. It jams him. It might have even broke his bat a little bit getting in there. But at the same time, what we've seen Yasiel do differently, and we talked about how hot he is as compared to in the past, when he really flies open with that front shoulder, that ball he would jam and break him and he would pull it. But at least he's staying and inside there with the front shoulder. It gives him a chance. Even though it wasn't hit hard, it'll still find a hole.
Adrian Gonzalez, 51 of his 111 runs batted in have come since the All-Star break. So he's headed toward the finish line in a high sprint. 25 home runs, 2 yesterday, and 5 runs batted in, and Gonzalez with a base hit into the right field corner. Puig rounding second. He's on his way to third, and he will be held up. Now he's running through the stop sign. The throw to the plate, not in time. So a double for Gonzalez. Puig runs through the stop sign, but the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead, and for Adrian Gonzalez, his 112th run batted in.
Well, I'll tell you, Yasiel running through that stop sign, when he was about a couple of steps away from third base is when Bundy decided to hold them up, but he was thinking scoring right from the ball was hit, which is the way you're supposed to be thinking, right out of his mind. You see him looking at the ball. He recognized it. Now he can't look back. He's got to depend on Lorenzo. He looks, and that's probably why he ends up running through the stop sign, because he's looking back at the ball. Usually you look at your manager, your third base coach there, and let him decide, but he looked back, and by that time he actually then picked up Lorenzo. He didn't have enough time to stop, so he just had to keep going.
So the 2 hottest hitters for the Dodgers these days, Puig and Gonzalez, deliver here in the first, and Matt Kemp hasn't exactly been chopped liver either. Kemp with 22 home runs and 80 runs batted in.
And for Adrian Gonzalez, that's his 350th career double.
And his 40th of the season. Kemp checks his swing. Well, the Dodgers continue to just scorch the baseball. On the year, they're second in the league in runs scored, second in the league in hits, first in the league in on-base percentage, and a .265 team batting average, second in the National League. Kemp, 2-2. Correction, 2-1. Since the All-Star break, Kemp's at .299, 14 home runs, 45 runs batted in. 10 for 37 on the trip. Dodgers with an early 1-0 lead. Into right center field. Drifting on back is Caesar. Tagging and going to third is Gonzalez. And a bad throw, but backed up by Jacob Turner.
Did you see Lorenzo Bundy have to drop to the floor there on that one as the ball was overthrown the third baseman? And a good job by Adrian Gonzalez as well, tagging up on this ball. Your job, with one out, he was actually off the bag, wasn't assuming that was going to be caught. Once he recognized it was, he says, I can tag up and get over there and look at Lorenzo dropping to the floor.
Or was he begging and pleading to Gonzalez, don't go, please don't go.
That's a good read. I mean, now, obviously, hit over there, the wild pitch or pass ball becomes a factor.
So with 2 out, here's Hanley Ramirez. Well, Jacob Turner, who's had a terrible time of it since coming to the Cubs. Dodgers score early, and here's Hanley Ramirez. Hanley at .282. Takes low and outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Ramirez 1 for 2 and 2 walks yesterday.
Jacob Turner is the type of pitcher that the Dodgers should be able to handle very well. Their lineup, he doesn't throw exceptionally hard. He has to have real good location to be successful.
On the corner for a strike.
And his 2 off-speed pitches, neither one is exceptional. They can have some pretty good depth when located well, but he has a tendency to make quite a few mistakes. They don't get too big with their swings, and their eyes don't get too big. They should be able to put some runs on the board today.
The 1-1.
Like that pitch right there.
Yeah, it was a big swing by Hanley. That's one when you know that you're seeing the ball well. His eyes get really big, and he's like, oh, that was right in his wheelhouse. Those are the ones you're going to be dreaming about tonight, going, gosh, if I can have that pitch back.
That's a coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Sitting inside on the corner and throwing it right down the middle.
Ramirez in the last 2 weeks hitting .447, 21 for his last 47 at-bats. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gonzalez at third. The Dodgers lead 1-0. And it's 2-2. Carl Crawford on deck. Dodgers this year, when they score first, are 65-21. And the Cubs, when the opposition scores first, are 22-62. This time next week, the season is over. 3-2 to Hanley Ramirez.
You see that breaking ball right there? That's just a ball right out of Turner's hand. An easy pitch to just take right away and get into this 3-2 count.
Crawford on deck, and Carl's been a hot hitter. So over the last week to 10 days, especially this road trip, the Dodger offense has really come together. Gordon, Puig, Gonzalez, Kemp, Ramirez, Crawford, all hot. The 3-2. Drilled into the left field corner. That is well hit, and it is off the wall. For the love of Ivy, Hanley Ramirez slides into second base with a double. Gonzalez comes in to score, and the Dodgers take a 2-0 lead.
Well, Hanley Ramirez thought he hit this one out. I mean, he even carried his bat pretty much 3/4 down the first base line before he dropped it, and watched it as that ball goes off the ivy here. Makes a nice swing, stays on that breaking ball. You were talking about it, Oral, and I think that also has something to do with the wind there that kept that one in that crosswind. Gets out there, out in front just a little bit, but still squares it up and hit it well. And he thought it was going out for him.
For Ramirez, his 71st run batted in. Puig and Gonzalez have scored. Dodgers couple of runs and 3 base hits already. And here is Carl Crawford. Crawford at 290, 7 home runs and 43 runs batted in, and that one is well hit to left, but the wind playing tricks. Coghlan tracks it down, and the inning is over. Dodgers draw first blood, 2 runs, 3 hits, and leave 1. And now Johnny Holstaff will start it out for the Dodgers, beginning with Jamie Wright. His first year as the manager of the Cubs, and here is a lineup that he's put together for this chilly, windy Sunday afternoon on the north side of Chicago. Chris Coghlan coming off the best day of his career yesterday. Javier Baez started great, has really slowed down of late. Rizzo's had a terrific season, 31 home runs. Valbuena's at third, Castillo the catcher, Alcantara the switch hitting center fielder, Valleca the Southern California boy born in Santa Monica, Caesar in right, Jacob Turner pitching and batting ninth, and Jamie Wright making his second start in 7 years.
Why is Jamie Wright on the mound? Well, Jamie Wright's on the mound. First and foremost, they want Dan Herron to pitch the first game against the Giants. Again, Hyun-Jin Ryu is hurt. He's on a sub-maximal throwing program, picked up a ball a couple days, but he is not ready yet, so they don't want to go back to Carlos Frias. He is in the bullpen, so Jamie Wright is picking up the start. They don't expect him to go very far, maybe 50 pitches, but the whole bullpen will be in there today, and it'll be winning pieces if they're ahead, and it'll be guys that can eat innings if they're behind.
So Coghlan, the big day yesterday, takes a strike, 0-1 on the year, 283 with 8 home runs and 38 runs batted in. Coghlan, a leadoff home run yesterday against Roberto Hernandez, and then he hit the big blast in the 8th inning off Brian Wilson.
Or on your experience, when you know that you're going to have a day like this where you got a guy coming out of the bullpen, do you really have to tell the bullpen, hey, every one of you guys is available? Or is it just something they know or should assume?
No, they know, and they've had chats with Rick Honeycutt approximately where they might be used, but they're going to be normally told by the pitching coach and the manager, just everybody be ready at any moment.
That has been in all the papers.
Right. Well, no, I mean they're all reading it, but at the same time,
right.
There's a communication that's going on. There's something that just to let you be aware that even whether you threw yesterday or not, that you're still available.
In the clubhouse today is Coghlan down on strikes. Ken Howell was talking to some of the young guys, so too Rick Honeycutt. Be ready. We don't know when. There's no formula as to when you will be in. All hands on deck. So a good start for Jamie Wright, getting yesterday's hot hitter Coghlan out on strikes. Here's Javier Baez. We were talking earlier about Baez. When he burst onto the scene, his first 3 games, he hit 3 home runs, and that's the good news. Takes Ian inside. Baez in his last 26 games is hitting 136. 14 hits, 105 at-bats. And at 183 at-bats, 82 strikeouts.
And what you know, as any of the relievers come out of the bullpen, and Jamie Wright knows this as he's on the mound, this is not about pacing yourself. This is about emptying the tank every batter. And if there's something left for the next guy, then you try and get him. And it's also about being honest with your manager and your pitching coach about how you feel. You don't want to go out there and just be that hard-nosed hero today and say, well, I'll keep going, and all of a sudden you pin a loss on the team because of your ego.
On 2-1.
I'll tell you, I pitched out of the bullpen. I've pitched as a starter, and I'll tell you what, this is a game where the relievers really relish it. They relish this day because some days they come to the park and they're not sure if they're going to influence or impact the game. Today, they pretty much all know they've got a chance to impact this game in a big way. And
it's a big game. Dodgers with a win today can whittle the magic number down to 4 and then root like the Dickens for the Padres. And it could be 3 as the Giants and Dodgers begin that big 3-game series back at Dodger Stadium tomorrow night. Them's the numbers. Lined into center field for a base hit. So Baez is aboard, a 1-out single to center. Defensively behind Wright. And the fellows are going to be busy today with the wind blowing the way it is, with Crawford and Puig and Kemp in the outfield, and round up the usual suspects in the infield. Uribe and Ramirez and Gordon and Gonzalez. And the battery won't be for long. Jamie Wright and A.J. Ellis. So Wright's got a 2-run lead to work with as Anthony Rizzo steps into the batter's box with 31 home runs and 74 runs batted in. He has been the man in the middle of the Cub offense. Second in the league in home runs. Takes a strike, 0-1. Giancarlo Stanton, of course, his season is over. Leads with 37 home runs, and Rizzo is second with 31. And the Dodger first baseman, Adrian Gonzalez, leads the major leagues in runs batted in, now with 112. No balls and a strike.
It's going to be a day, Charlie, when you're going to have to think of multiple ways to say there's somebody up in the Dodger bullpen.
Not yet.
That's right.
Hey, we're playing with house money now.
Well, there's one pitcher I hope we don't get to see in this game. I know everybody's available, but one really, and that's Drew Butera.
Bustled up there, what, 92, 93.
Yeah, I'm just saying, usually if he comes in, it's really not good for the Dodgers.
Nope.
Rizzo down on strikes, and Jamie's got the right stuff.
Now, Jamie Wright, has started at the big league level for a long time. Has not started, of course, since last September 1st. But the one thing about Jamie is no matter what role he has been in, he has always been a pitcher. He has not been a thrower. He has not been a guy who only has one out pitch. He has a full arsenal of pitches. So that makes him a very good candidate for this opportunity.
Well, Jamie Wright does not last this long in the big leagues without knowing how to get people out.
He will turn 40 on Christmas Eve. Luis Valbuena takes outside and low 1 ball and no strikes. In his 19-year big league career, Jamie Wright, this is his 248th start, but it's been a while since the last one. And it should be noted, as a starter, he wasn't so hot. He was 69 and 101 with an ERA of over 5, but he found his niche as a middle reliever, and he wouldn't have lasted nearly 20 years in the big leagues not being effective in that way. Now, what he also is a grown-up. I mean, he is a mature man who is one of the leaders in the bullpen, by no means the most talented, but he's certainly the most experienced, and you can throw him into almost any situation. 2 balls and no strikes. Valbuena. That'll leave a mark.
Did you hit your feet an awful lot, Nomar? Balls? No?
Not a lot, awful lot, but many times. I mean, you probably do it once, twice a year, maybe I had it, but never, each time is not fun.
Valbuena wearing the shin guard, and wouldn't you know it, he hit it off his foot where the guard was not protecting.
Put it this way, I didn't wear if I had hit it off my foot a lot, I would have been wearing a shin guard, just like that.
How long does it take for the pain to go away?
Gosh, maybe about a week.
Putting on socks could be an adventure.
It's when you hit it off your foot, you get scared when you have to take off your shoe after the game because you're afraid it's just gonna.
It's not a pretty picture.
Balloon up. Like, okay, the shoes are nice and tight, and right now it's keeping the swelling down. When I take that off, I'm going to release it.
Wellington Castillo is on deck. So the Dodgers with the early 2-0 lead. A Puig single and doubles for Gonzalez and Ramirez. 3-1. In the last 31 games, Valbuena is hitting .306. Three and one, threatening skies, and Valbuena takes outside.
That's a bad walk, and easy to say, but a bad walk because Jamie Wright trying to keep his pitch count down, and you don't want to walk a guy into scoring position. You got 2 outs, and you also have an early 2-run lead, so you'd rather gone strength against strength there and thrown a strike.
Wellington Castillo, 11 home runs and 42 runs batted in. First and second, Dodgers a 2-0 lead in the bottom of the first. To the right side, Gonzalez, the underhanded flip to right. Mission accomplished for Jamie Wright. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left. 2-0 Dodgers will go to the second. Uribe, Ellis, and Wright are due up.
Field. Jacob Turner back on the hill for the Chicago Cubs in his second inning of work so far. And Jacob Turner and Jamie Wright were both first-round draft picks, but that is really where the comparisons end as far as these two starting pitchers are concerned. Jamie Wright getting the start today, of course, normally coming out of the bullpen. This is a bit of experience versus youth when you take a look at it. Jamie Wright will turn 40 in December. Jacob just 23 years old. He was the 9th overall draft pick in 2009. Jamie Wright, a first-rounder pitcher way back in 1993, guys. You can take a look at the career numbers, and perhaps the most interesting statistic is that when Jamie Wright was drafted as a first-rounder, Jacob Turner was 2 years old.
Well, we'll find out if youth will be served or not. Turner, it's been much expected out of his career, and to this point it hasn't happened. The first-round pick is a lot of mention, then on to the Marlins, and now to the Cubs. Young fella, 23, in his third team. And Uribe can't wait to hit against him. Wanted. 309. Takes a strike. It's 0-1. Giants and Padres a little later on. Giants and Dodgers tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday. Uribe takes outside. Three with the Giants next Thursday and off day. Then the Rockies Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then the playoffs. Here's the 1-1. 2-1. A lot of long faces leaving Wrigley Field yesterday, boarding the bus back to the Dodger Hotel. And then a sigh of relief before they hit the sack last night as Cashner came up big for the Padres. A strike, 2-2.
Giants have some games against the Padres down the stretch, and they are all going to be tight with that young Padre pitching staff. They have done very, very well.
Yeah, after the Dodgers, still 4 more with San Diego. 3-2.
Let's hope they put a bad taste in their mouth again today. Give the Dodgers some breathing room again.
Won't be easy for the Giants this afternoon. Vogelsong goes for San Francisco against Ian Kennedy. Broken bat number to short. Uribe's been dealing with a groin muscle issue, so he's out easily, 1 out.
Those are the parts of playing every day in the big leagues, that you have those nagging injuries where you can play, but on a ground ball like that, that's very routine. You just kind of stride it out. You don't. It's not lack of hustle. It's just being smart.
And I know sometimes from the outside, and it gets magnified if you happen to make a bad throw or pulls off the first baseman and you're not there, you're still out. But at the same time, it's the factor is those nagging injuries. And sometimes there's, we know them, but there's so many injured people are dealing that aren't reported, that we know about in the media here, where they are playing through, and everyone at this stage is playing through something.
And AJ has been playing through something all year. Arthroscopic surgery on the left knee, sprained his right ankle, and then on successive days took foul tips right off his knee. Only now, talking to Kershaw the other day, when AJ had the 2-home run day. Ellis into center field for a base hit. What Clayton was saying, that people don't realize this extent of discomfort that A.J. Ellis has had to deal with all year between the 2 knees and the 1 ankle.
Yeah, I get the up close and personal watching of him when we're doing the home pregame show, and he comes out from behind to do his early running, and he walks by us, and I can actually see in his gait, just when he's walking, he's dragging his leg. So you know that he's still on the mend, but he's good enough to play.
And as a catcher, legs aren't important.
Yeah.
Jamie Wright is 0 for 5 this year. Squares to bunt and misses at 0-1. D. Gordon on deck. You get the sense that the signal from Lorenzo Bundy is just lay it down. Which he does. Mission accomplished. Ellis goes to second on the sacrifice, 1-4.
It is not the easiest combination to sacrifice somebody to second. A.J. Ellis, probably the slowest runner on the team, and Jamie Wright has some of the fewest bunt attempts on the team.
Well, of course.
He got it done.
I know that's how difficult being in the bullpen. I mean, his last sacrifice bunt, just to put in perspective, was back in June of 2007.
That's his second in 7 years.
There you go,
Almost
see?
as many starts, for goodness sakes. D. Gordon takes a strike, 0-1. Gordon grounded to third, a bunt attempt that didn't work out too well. Gordon, a 12-game hitting streak and 8 consecutive games with 2 or more hits, lifting his average to 293. Mentioned earlier, with the 54 infield hits, the 12 triples, and the 64 stolen bases, offensively he's the #1 speed player in the game. His 54 hits, almost 20 more than the second fellow, Altuve. Well, some folks have the umbrellas out, so there's some drizzle. Certainly there's rain in the forecast. We've experienced almost all 4 seasons in the 4 days we've been here. 64 degrees, but it feels very raw today. A.J. Ellis will go to third. So the wild pitch gets Ellis to third base.
I don't know how that missed D. Gordon. Those are some
He's
quick
fast.
feet. I was gonna say. Fast and quick.
The hand is quicker than the eye. In Gordon's case, the feet are. And here's Puig, who singled and scored a run in his first at bat, hoping to get a shot here in the second.
Turner, we just saw a wild pitch by Everett Turner. Well, he has 5 wild pitches so far this season, and he also has a balk. So those are all factors for the man on third base.
But as we mentioned, AJ is the slowest runner the Dodgers have, and with the brick wall very close to home plate, no certainty that he could scamper home from third. Gordon fouls it back. In 591 at-bats, Gordon has been struck out 105 times. On base percentage of .332. 2 home runs, 33 runs batted in. Into the glove of Rizzo. Dodgers threaten. Leave Ellis at third. No runs and a hit. Will go to the bottom of the second. Jamie Wright to face Alcantara, Valleca, and Hale Caesar. through the first inning. So far so good from the Dodger perspective. Next Sunday, Fan Appreciation Day at Dodger Stadium. There'll be a number of giveaways and prizes throughout the game, including 2015 season tickets, a brand new 60-inch class LG Smart TV, United Airlines airfare vouchers, and so much more. For more information, visit Dodgers.com/fan appreciation. So Jamie Wright, a good day would be 50 pitches and not a whole lot of damage. 19 pitches, no runs, a hit and a walk in his first inning of work. And here's Alcantara, switch hitter. Barely 200 from either side, and takes a strike. It's 0-1. Valleca on deck, Matt Caesar to follow. On Friday night after the game, I was talking to Jamie Wright, who had not yet been officially notified that he was going to start. And especially in a town like this, you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. So I went over to him and said, "Do you remember your last start?" He said, "There was one last year. I don't remember the one before that." He said, "Am I starting?" I said, "You're asking the wrong one." But as I was talking to him, I said, what a perfect candidate. Here it is, not even the middle of a pennant race. It's the last week of the pennant race. He's been down this road before. And he's got an opportunity to make a big contribution on this chilly Sunday afternoon. And he knew his shelf life would be minimal today.
There's one thing about naming a starter that hasn't started in a while or putting pressure on somebody. And Jamie's the guy also that could get a good night's sleep knowing he was pitching the next day and start. Some of the other guys that you might be handing the ball to, you wouldn't want to tell them until about 20 minutes before the game started.
So they can get a good night rest.
2-2 to Alcantara. Ball strike 3. That's the third strikeout for Jamie Wright. First out of the second inning. And he has gotten the leadoff batter in each of the first 2 innings.
Missed his spot, but it was good pitch selection as far as what the hitter was thinking. He was not thinking of a fastball for a strike.
Alcantara hit that home run off J.P. Howell yesterday. Now here's Chris Valleca. Play the outfield, play the infield. He's starting at second base today, hitting .236. And he takes inside. So 3 strikeouts for Jamie Wright. The Dodgers this year have set a franchise record in strikeouts by pitchers with 1,300 and by hitters, not so good, 1,200. Valleca fouls it back, and it's 1-1. And this has been a recurring theme, just not only the Dodgers, but throughout baseball. There are a lot more strikeouts, pitchers and hitters.
New philosophy of hitting going on. Not worrying about as much about strikeouts and making contact.
1-2 to Valleca.
Doesn't make it a good philosophy.
Nothing good can happen from a strikeout. Put the ball in play, something may happen. Here's the 1-2, just outside. When Matt Kemp was in high school in Oklahoma, one of the fellows that he looked up to was Jamie Wright, an outstanding pitcher in high school. And so Kemp has always I can't say idolized necessarily, Jamie Wright, but certainly he has admired his work. And then in the years watching him play from center field, he would talk about Wright's naturally nasty stuff. 3-2. That's the second walk given up by Wright.
He's kicked himself with both of them. A 2-out walk in the first inning, but he pitched around it. He's going to try and pitch around this one with 1 out.
This is Matt Caesar. And on this day when the entire bullpen is available and could conceivably be called upon, we have no earthly idea who is next. And I'm not entirely sure that Mattingly and Honeycutt are sure. It will be just how this game and each inning evolves. Wright's going to go about 50 pitches, and then after that, who will be coming up in the next inning? It'll be entirely situational.
Yeah, I think if you told them it's going to be the beginning of an inning and you're going to be ahead, they could probably name the pitcher. If you told them it was in the middle of the inning and this is who's coming up and it could be one of 9 guys, it might be a matchup situation already.
That's what makes this so neat. There are 7 games left, including today. There is little or no margin for error, and each game, each inning, each batter takes on a magnified importance. 1-1 to Caesar. Ramirez, Gordon, Gonzalez safe at first.
When this ball was hit right off the bat of Caesar for Hanley Ramirez, it was one where you're going, okay, I know it's not hit really hard, but if I charge it, it might get me out of the rhythm or put me in a bad angle to throw to second base. So he almost had to sit on it, sit back just a little bit. And by doing that, it was really tough to turn that double play. But he made the right one to at least make sure of 1 at second base.
Jacob Turner has 3 hits in 19 at-bats. Strike, 0-1. There's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tomorrow night, Dan Herron and Jake Peavy. Tuesday night, Zach Greinke, Madison Bumgarner, Kershaw, and Hudson on Wednesday. To the right side, the base hit.
Nomar, there's been 3 cardinal sins from the pitching mound, but there's still no runs from the Cubs. You've got 2 walks in 2 innings and a 0-2 hit to the pitcher.
You can see Jamie frustrated with himself at that one.
Especially when his breaking stuff to a young pitcher is probably just right a put away pitch, and that might have been a pitch that where you're trying to save pitches to go another complete inning, to go 3 innings in this game, and you, in thinking about saving pitches and going right after them, it cost you some pitches.
That was the 37th, and this is the 38th. Coughlin takes a strike. He struck out swinging in his first at bat. It's 0-1. So the Dodgers with a 2-0 lead. The Cubs in the last series against Cincinnati gave up just 1 run in 27 innings. And in this series, 33 runs in 28 innings. And so now it's incumbent upon Jamie Wright to keep the Cubs in check. 0-2. Broken bat blooper into center field for a hit. So the 2-out single to Turner, the pitcher with 2 strikes, comes back to bite Wright and the Dodgers, who now lead the Cubs 2-1.
once again on the 0-2 pitch, catching too much of the plate here, trying to go in. The ball doesn't break much. Coughlin able to fight that one off and get a base hit.
That just comes down to the probabilities of baseball, that if you're going to give free passes, if you're going to give up hits to guys you're supposed to get out, then all of a sudden the broken bat hit or the blooper, even if you pitch well, comes to bite you.
Carlos Frias is the first one to shed the sweatshirt. Big swing from Baez, and it's 0-1. A walk and a 2-out single to the pitcher opens the door for Coughlin, who had the great day yesterday, and he's driven in the Cubs' first run. Baez single to center in his first at bat. Carlos Frias, of course, had the historically bad day in Colorado. But one of the things that Mattingly was saying, liking his temperament, the first question that everybody asked Mattingly, how's this kid going to respond to that? And Mattingly, now whether or not it was for PR consumption or not, but you got the sense that the kid has good makeup. Pitched a third of an inning yesterday, struck out a bat.
And he definitely could be the guy in the Dodger bullpen that goes the farthest in this game, even more than Jamie Wright, the starter, because Carlos was stretched out. He only went 38 pitches in that debacle in Colorado, now a third of an inning yesterday. And so with Carlos down there, really he didn't start this game, A, because of the last start was so bad, but B, again, let's get him in a position that's fresh and new and let his talent shine and not let his mind get in the way.
Get a good night's sleep. Here's the 2-2. Hard ground ball, just foul. Baez didn't miss a double by much. A.J. Ellis and Jamie Wright, a couple of the Dodgers' elder statesmen. Anthony Rizzo is on deck. So they want to get Baez right here and now for the obvious reason. Baez with 82 strikeouts and 184 at-bats. So vulnerable to the strikeout. He can also hit one out. Into the glove of Uribe. Couldn't have hit it any harder. Cubs come up with one hit, two hits, and leave one. The reactions of Juan Uribe. Puig, Gonzalez, and Kemp will bat in the third. You buy Subway. Get a great deal on this month's $6 footlong special. The Italian BMT or the $3 Super 6-inch Select. The Sweet Onion Chicken Teriyaki. Subway. Eat fresh. Dodgers take a 2-1 lead into the third inning. And a reminder, with the Dodgers and Giants having at it tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday nights, come on out dressed in blue for the Dodger Blue Out. All merchandise will be discounted 20% at stadium locations. Don't miss your chance to be part of the Dodger Blue Out. For more information and to get your tickets, go to Dodgers.com. So Turner gets a run to work with. The Dodgers lead 2-1 as we go to the third. It'll be Yasiel Puig, Adrian Gonzalez, and Matt Kemp to bat. And the Giants and the Padres getting underway in a little bit. Puig continued his hot hitting in the first inning with a single into right field. He would come around to score on a Gonzalez double. And then Hanley Ramirez would double home Adrian Gonzalez. Well, for whatever reason, since Puig came up to the majors June 3rd of last year, he really has enjoyed facing the Chicago Cubs. And this series is no exception. Puig with 15 home runs and 66 runs batted in. Dodgers got to Turner in the first, got a hit in the second, and Puig, when you're hot, you're hot. His single to right was kind of a bloop shot, and this was one of those follow the bouncing balls into center field. So Puig is 2 for 2.
Puig takes it right back up the middle. We mentioned about his approaches. His approaches have been getting better and better since his struggles about a month or so, and good things happen when you have better approaches. And speaking of somebody who has a good approach all the time, Adrian Gonzalez up at the plate.
Doubled in a run and scored a run in his first at bat, and the Dodgers with a 2-1 lead as we begin the third. Frias continues to warm in the Dodger bullpen. Gonzalez takes a strike, 0-1, in the way that Frias is going about his business down there. You get a sense he will be out to pitch the third inning.
Yeah, on a day like this, if he's throwing in earnest right now, you're not going to let him spend any bullets down there in the bullpen unless he's getting hot to come into the game.
Foul back and just to our left. So Gonzalez with his base hit, now at 279. He scored 79 runs and driven in 111. Make it 112. They play Adrian slightly toward left center. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kemp on deck, and then Hanley Ramirez. It's staggering the number of runs on this road trip for the Dodgers and their opponents, whomever they may be. To this point, 127 runs have been scored in this 10th and final game of the road trip. Dodgers with now 69 and the opponents with 58. And having said all that, the Dodgers are 5-4 on the trip. Lots of offense coming from Southern California. And on a day like this with the Dodgers bullpen by committee, they're likely going to need lots of runs.
It's amazing the way baseball is what you expect, and you can calculate it out, but it's hard to predict. But this does lay itself out as a day when the offense is going to need to pick up the pitching.
As it did for Kershaw on Friday. 14 runs for Clayton. A 5-inning performance. Still won his 20th game.
And a nice comeback the day before for Zach Greinke. The offense came through. And a game yesterday that was very depressing. A game that they felt like they had handled and should have been able to put in the books.
They did and they didn't. There goes the runner. Foul back. Yasiel Puig has 9 stolen bases this year. However, he's been caught 7 times. Well, he's got the thumb guard and the wrist guard there on the left hand. How many broken fingers have there been this year? Bad head first sliding.
It's really interesting with Yasiel. He has the speed to be a speed demon and a stolen base threat. And he has the ability to get a good jump at first base. He just can't slide at the other end. He can't arrive.
Well, he'll arrive easily as it pops out of the glove of Castillo. A pass ball. Castillo looked at his glove as if to say, how did that happen?
Yep.
Ejector mitt.
So the Dodgers with a runner in scoring position, and that's just the way Adrian Gonzalez likes it. He's been in the top 10 almost all year with runners in scoring position. Leads the majors with 112 RBIs. And the Dodgers lead it 2-1 in the third.
What he's doing and leading the league in 112 RBIs. I mean, you've got to put him in a talk as far as MVP in the NL. What he's also meant to this team.
He leads the league in RBIs. He leads baseball in RBIs. He leads sac flies, and he's only made 5 errors at first base. And he's got to be in the equation. I'm not sure he's going to win it, but he'll be in the equation.
Rizzo backhanded stab. Gonzalez is out. Turner covers, and Puig goes to third.
That's an MVP stat for me right there too.
You know, that's what makes him so good, is recognizing that, okay, guy gets over to second base, nobody out now. Now all of a sudden he's a different hitter. You know, you had him in on first, and then Yasiel gets to second on the pass ball. He knows he's behind in the count, or he's, you know, there's 2 strikes on him. Knows he doesn't want to strike out, got to protect it as well, and also have the swing that even if I'm making it out, it's to the right side to get something done.
If ever there was the working definition of situational hitting.
Yes.
And having those 11 sacrifice flies for Gonzalez, that one is well hit to right. It is on its way, and it is gone. A home run. Matt Kemp continues his torrid pace. His 23rd home run of the year. It's a 2-run shot, 52 RBIs, and the Dodgers take a 4-1 lead. Oh, is he hot?
And I'm not going to say that was because of result of Adrian Gonzalez, but at the same time, Adrian Gonzalez getting some job done, it helps you set your approach for your at-bat for Matt Kemp. So he knows he's looking for a ball to drive. He's looking for something possibly up in the zone to get it up in the air. And just that little thing in your mind helps you out. He gets a ball and he drives it out of the ballpark.
Let's not forget the 2 home runs that were cut down by the wind a couple of nights ago here. Kemp with a home run on Friday, and on Thursday 2 shots to the left field wall. One resulted in a sac fly. So the Dodgers lead 4-1, and Hanley Ramirez takes inside.
His swing, we've talked about it over and over again of how nice his swing has been over the last couple of months, staying inside the ball, driving the ball to all fields. And there it is. We know his strength to right field, to right center, but he also can turn on it now. He's in a position and not afraid to throw the hands in the barrel if the ball was in, and turn on it if he needs to. I mean, you talked about the ones that were knocked down, Charlie, and those balls he turned on and drove them to left field. The wind was just blowing in, so he is really utilizing all fields.
Ramirez a double and an RBI today. And that's a line drive into left field. So Ramirez has hit the ball solidly. One thing about Turner, he hasn't fooled anybody.
No, he has not made many quality pitches at all. They've got some quality velocity and some good movement, but he's leaving them up, or he's leaving them in the middle of the plate, or he's also fallen behind hitters.
It looks like the Cubs are going to go bullpen by committee today too. Although that was not exactly the game plan going in. Carl Crawford flied to left in his first at bat. So the Dodgers with a 4-1 lead. A Puig single and a pair of doubles by Gonzalez and Ramirez in the first. A Puig single, a 2-run home run for Kemp here in the third. Even the foul balls are loud. So for Matt Kemp, now with 23 home runs, his 7th in September and his 15th since the All-Star break. There goes the runner. Looped into left. Coughlin is there. And a U-turn for Hanley Ramirez.
Hanley Ramirez gets to second base and goes past second base, and then he touches it back, going back to first as you're supposed to. But he was really not running hard back to first base. And this is very, very close. He may have been out. They may have gotten a double play there.
They're going to take a look at the replay, and I think the big question will be, was Rizzo's foot on the bag? And so first base umpire Greg Gibson and crew chief Jerry Davis will have a look. Again, if you pass second base, you have to retouch second to get back to first.
Yeah, he looks like he's out by a spike.
And the mistake that Hanley Ramirez made is that he assumed that there wasn't going to be a play on him at first base. So he was not running hard back to first after the play was made. And his jog, lightly run back, may have just cost him.
Jerry Davis, the crew chief, the larger of the two in the back part of the picture, St. Louis. Been managing, or rather umpiring in the bigs about 30 years. Wait a minute, I'll handle it. And the answer is double play. That'll end the inning. A base running blunder by Hanley, but the Dodgers come up with a couple of runs. A Puig single and Matt Kemp's 23rd home run of the year. Go to the bottom of the third. Dodgers in front, 4-1. Here, a rocket shot to right has given the Dodgers a 4-1 lead, and a lead now to be protected by Carlos Frias. Of course, Frias had such a terrible time of it up in Colorado, and Don Mattingly remains firmly in his corner. And Earl, he's really an ideal guy to pick up the middle innings in this bullpen by committee Sunday afternoon.
He's right back in the role that he was in, that he was so successful when he came here to the Dodgers as a young fellow, kind of being groomed to be a starter, but also getting his legs wet in the middle innings. And this is where the Dodgers have really watched him shine.
Jamie Wright, 2 innings, 1 run and 3 hits. Call strike. And it's 0-1 to Anthony Rizzo. Struck out swinging in his first at bat. Right through 46 pitches. 29 for strikes. And on the board today, the feeling was that Wright would go about 50, and he went 46. 2 walks and 3 strikeouts, and Frias misses 2 and 1.
It's not only about getting a reliever out there in the right situation and having him be successful. It's managing their workload today towards the W so that they will be ready for tomorrow. Dan Herron has had some tough outings at times.
Gordon will throw out Rizzo, first out of the 3rd.
Dan was on a roll coming into his last outing. Had won 3 out of 4 of those outings and had pitched deep into the game, the 6th and 7th inning. But in the last outing against Colorado was a little rocky, so that it's not one of those days where tomorrow is Kershaw or tomorrow is Ryu or tomorrow is Greinke. Tomorrow is Dan Herron, and you want to make sure the bullpen is ready to help him also.
And tomorrow's the Giants.
Yes.
Luis Valbuena walked in his first at bat. Frias delivers a strike. It's 0-1. Frias was a starter at Double and Triple A this year for the Dodgers. 10 and 5, a .458 earned run average in 20 starts. 1 ball, 1 strike. Wellington Castillo is on deck. 1 and 2. The Dodgers would be thrilled if they get 3 innings out of Frias. If they get 5 innings out of 2 pitchers at this point, where do they sign?
Exactly. Brandon League only used 1/3 of an inning, a winning piece for the Dodger bullpen. Chris Perez is on a lot of rest. Somebody could use.
Valbuena into the right field corner is going to get a double out of the deal. A 1-out double for Luis Valbuena, his 5th 2-base hit of the year.
You see AJ have to reach all the way across the plate. Carlos has outstanding movement low and away to left-handed hitters, but when he pulls it up and in, it's very straight, and that was and got ripped.
And that'll bring up Wellington Castillo. Castillo bounced to Gonzalez in his first at bat. Castillo took a foul tip off the ribs on Friday. Takes up and in.
Now this where Carlos Frias, after that pitch right there, tells me that his mind is moving too fast. He jumps out of his mechanics. He does not want any of those pitches up there in that area, and that is rushing and throwing the ball before you're ready, and that's a little bit of anxiety.
With Valbuena at second and 1 out. 4-1 Dodgers in the 3rd.
It's the second one. It's a little bit of an adjustment, but still he's overthrowing, and he's trying to throw the ball before he's ready. The adrenaline hits your body. The anxiousness to do the good job is hitting your body, and you've got to keep it under control and keep it in rhythm.
Wind is now blowing in. And there's a strike.
Great job by A.J. Ellis to call a breaking ball right there. The breaking ball has a different feel in your hand. It's got a different mentality to it. It's an off-speed pitch. And you know your catcher's with you, just trying to calm you down.
Alcantara on deck. Castillo fouls it back. Wellington Castillo with 11 home runs and 42 runs batted in. And there's Alcantara, who hit one yesterday. Cubs have hit 152 home runs this year. More than 40% of their runs have come by way of the home run. On 2-2. And the short right. D. Gordon taking charge.
It's a nice pitch by Carlos Frias. You can get to a point where you go, okay, third breaking ball in a row. I got to throw a really, really good one because this guy has seen it. My last one I hung, but no, he gets it out in the outer half of the plate. It doesn't break a lot, but he gets it to the outer edge and makes him hit it with one hand and just pop it up. It's not the best. It's not the worst. It was good enough.
For the second out of the inning. And here's Alcantara. The press box PA here is inordinately loud. Of course, the joint's 100 years old.
It's a very old school tone to it.
Well, it's not very big here either, so no. It's not.
Well, again, we mentioned this park is 100 years old. It was built before World War I and 6 years before the first radio station in the United States. So the press box was not an afterthought. They had no idea there'd eventually be one.
And I know they have plans this offseason to make some renovations to the stadium, so it'll be interesting to see how different it may look next year.
Popped up.
And you know, Charlie, as you know as we go around the league, some of the employees in the different ballparks are just gems, and the people that work here at Wrigley are absolutely amazing. Nomar and I were coming up the elevator here, and the gentleman, we were giving him stories about Wrigley and how much we enjoyed the walk from the visiting clubhouse down to, you know, the dugout. And he said, well, that might get changed. You might want to go make that walk today because the construction that's coming might rehab some things that are memories for Nomar.
Wait, hold on. You former jocks use an elevator? Come on.
Well, Nomar didn't want to, but I asked him to do it for me.
Come on. You got the ramps here. Part of the deal.
I've done the ramps multiple days, but we wanted to go down and see the guard because that's where the TV trucks are down there. You know that, in the left field corner, and there's some people down there that are employed that we like to say hi to.
Oh.
So there.
Yeah.
You can get your violin out and play it as I talk.
Sentimental journey on the 100th year of Wrigley Field. That's going to be a base hit. That's going to go to the corner, and Valbuena's going to come in to score. Alcantara, barely a 200 hitter this year, comes up with a big home run yesterday and doubles home Valbuena. It's now a 4-2 game.
Now, those are the ones you tell a young fellow, look, you made a pretty good pitch. You got a ground ball. It just happened to be in the wrong place. Maybe next time we can get that to be about a 4-hopper instead of a 2-hopper down the line, but just keep making good pitches.
Now Chris Valaika. It's entirely natural for Frias to be wondering, well, after that last performance in Colorado, pitched an inning the other day. Uh-oh, am I heading down this road again?
Oh.
Valaika walked in his first at-bat. The Dodger lead has been cut to 4-2. Matt Caesar on deck. Wright goes 2 innings, a run and 3 base hits. Frias in 2/3 of an inning, a run and 2 base hits. So the Dodgers have been so hot offensively. Swung on and missed strike 3. By the looks of it, a third of the way through the game, going to have to rely on their big bats. Uribe, Ellis, and Frias will bat when we head to the 4th.
Bullpen by committee today, we know that, but with a 3.5-game lead in the division and a 5-game magic number, it's important to know what we're headed for as far as the San Francisco Giants series is concerned. What I'm talking about is probables. It was supposed to be Dan Herron today. We know why. He is starting tomorrow in Game 1. He's going to be opposed by Jake Peavy. Then on Tuesday, Zach Greinke on the hill for Los Angeles against Madison Bumgarner. And then Wednesday, the Dodgers ace Clayton Kershaw going up against Tim Hudson. Again, guys, a 3.5-game lead in the division. Magic number 5.
And the Giants are in San Diego, and there's Kershaw, who will be pitching on Wednesday. Dodgers will have next Thursday off and finish up the season at home with Colorado. And the Giants will have 4 games against the Padres, against whom they've had a miserable time of it all year. Uribe takes outside and low, 1 ball, no strikes. Juan bounced to short in his first at bat.
Yeah, that half-game difference between the Giants and the Dodgers will be hanging there until that Thursday when the Dodgers are off and the Giants play.
And they play the Padres. Uribe takes high. And then we don't know beyond Thursday if we will see Ryu over the weekend against Colorado or not. So the Dodgers and the Rockies on Friday, and then a week from Friday, the playoffs begin. Uribe with 9 home runs into right field. AL season. The Dodgers to this point 4 runs and 7 hits. Couple of doubles for Gonzalez, Ramirez, and a 2-run home run for Kemp. A.J. Ellis singled to center field in his first at bat. And there is Matt Kemp, who continues to have a sensational second half of the year. A.J. 52 hits on the year. And is floating up toward the Mendoza line. He's at 196 now. And again, it's a matter of both Ellis working through his injuries and Kemp recuperating from his surgeries.
AJ will trade it all for a good September like he's starting to have and a good October.
Nothing would be better for Ellis and the Dodgers than to win their final game in October. 2 out.
Well, he too is having better approaches and better at bats. That's another good sign. His first base hit, he drove it back up the middle as well. And then that one stayed on that ball off speed. So it's not just the fastball he's always hitting. He's hitting some breaking balls and different pitches and looks more balanced at the plate.
You know what I noticed is that when he lands on his front leg, he's able to stay in his legs now and drive the ball to that part of the park. It looked like, with the legs being weak, that he was pulling off of everything. His upper body was kind of pulling out of his lower body. And he was very light on his feet while he was hitting.
Yeah, when you don't feel like you're that strong, you almost have to feel like everything has to go to at the same time. Your legs, your body, and everything, and that's how you have a tendency to pull off.
Frias still looking for his first big league hit. Well, be a creative way to find one.
Well, you had Valbuena over there playing back at third base. He noticed that and it's like, okay, maybe I can sneak one down there.
Oh, he'll get another crack at it. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and 2 out. Dodgers and Cubs this year. Final game, obviously. 3-3 against one another. Frias down on strikes, and that will end the inning. Nothing across. We'll go to the bottom half of the 4th. Caesar, Turner, and Coughlin to bat against Carlos Frias. Home, and tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the biggest home series of the season. On Tuesday, be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance at Dodger Stadium. You get to take home a sleeve blanket presented by your SoCal Honda dealers. For tickets to the game and all games in the rivalry series, visit Dodgers.com/tickets. So Carlos Frias out to pitch his 2nd inning of relief. Jamie Wright, 2 innings, a run, and 3 hits. Frias, in his 1st inning of relief in the 3rd, gave up a run and 2 hits and struck out 1. This is Matt Caesar leading it off for the Cubbies. Bounced to short, got aboard on a fielder's choice, and would come around to score on a 2-out single by Coughlin. No balls and a strike. Caesar recalled from AAA Iowa in the middle of August. Had a good second half of the season in Iowa. .315 18 runs scored, 16 stolen bases. 1 ball, 1 strike. So how far Frias goes, time will tell. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Matt Caesar. Everybody in the Dodger bullpen will be available. Who gets used and how and when, we'll all find out together. Frias with his 2nd strikeout. It's the 1st out of the 4th.
Carlos got away right there with a hanging breaking ball. It was kind of one of those overhung sliders. See where AJ's target is, and then he has to reach up. If that ball gets hit, we're calling it a hanger and a mistake. Swing and a miss, and you take a break. Even Carlos threw his head up in the air and then down like, ooh, I got away with one.
Jacob Turner, a slow roller to 3rd. Uribe will throw out the pitcher, 2 out. That's the one question about Juan Uribe. Not so much his hitting, but coming in on those slow rollers or those shots where he might have to dive. The groin issue has plagued him for a bit.
That's the one that worries you when you're dealing with a nagging injury like that, because your first instinct is just off the bat you react. You either have to charge or you have to step in the dive. And those you just can't go in controlling like you can when you're at the plate and you're running, where you can ease into your run.
And it's also a chilly day.
Yeah.
So it's hard to stay warm. But quickly 2 out and nobody on. 3 in a row retired by Frias. Chris Coughlin 1 for 2. Takes inside. In this game, more so than most, it's inning to inning and really practically batter to batter. After today, 6 games remain, all at Dodger Stadium.
Well, you asked the question of how far will Carlos Frias go. I think he'll go until the game is tied or until his pitch count runs out. I think that they will go as far as they can, and I would expect another inning or 2 out of him. And even if it gets a little rocky, they're going to hang with him, because if you told Don Mattingly and Rick Honeycutt you can go into the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning of this game tied, and I've only used Jamie Wright and Carlos Frias, they would take it.
Sliced into the stands down the 3rd baseline.
No matter if the score is 8-8 or 3-3 or 4-4 or 4-2, the Dodgers are winning. It's about the fewest pitchers we can get to get to the 7th. Get to the 7th, then you can go Baez, you can go Brian Wilson, J.P. Howell, and then you got Kenley Jansen at the end.
The 1-2. Call, strike 3. So Frias retires the Cubs in order. It's the first clean inning for Dodger pitching. We'll go to the 5th with the Dodgers leading 4-2. On Sportsnet LA is brought to you by the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import, and by Jack in the Box. Try Jack's Spicy Chicken Club Combo at Jack in the Box with fries and a drink while it lasts. So the Dodgers take a 4-2 lead into the top half of the fifth inning. It'll be at the top of the order, Gordon and Puig and Gonzalez. For D. Gordon stepping in, he's 0 for 2. Bounce to third, line to first, enjoying a career high 12-game hitting streak. And 8 games in a row where he's had 2 hits or more. 4 for 6 against Turner coming into the game. 0 for 2 today. Takes outside and low. 1 ball and no strikes. Puig on deck. Gonzalez to follow. So for D. Gordon, a breakout year. In spring, he was auditioning for that role at second base with Rojas and Turner, Figgins, among others. And it was pretty evident about 2-3 weeks into spring the job was his. And there's been no let up or let down for D. Gordon. Been among the top 10 in the league with base hits. Into left field, and Coghlan was there. So D is 0 for 3. It's the first out of the fifth inning. Now here comes Yasiel Puig. Even when he was slumping, and he certainly was slumping, there did not appear to be any lessening of his demeanor. He kept a pretty steady sense about himself. He said, get it together. Come playoff time, don't worry about a thing. And boys, he gotten it together. 2 for 2 today and 2 runs scored. Up to 3-0-2. Dodgers 4-2. With his hits today, he's now got a 4-game hitting streak. That is 18 for 40 on the road trip. One ball and 2 strikes to Yasiel Puig. Meanwhile, Jacob Turner struggled in the first, struggled in the third, but he's retired 5 in a row. Two balls and 2 strikes. Is Turner doing anything substantially different the last couple of innings?
No, you know what? They're just not squaring up the same kind of mistakes. His pitches are slightly better. This is a young pitcher that really hasn't understood yet, I think, what low is at the big league level.
Well, Puig is going to make it to first base. A strikeout wild pitch. For the Dodgers, all charity happily accepted.
I don't know if it's a wild pitch or a pass ball. They called it a wild pitch, boy, but I'll tell you what, behind the plate, you got to be a little better than that. And I'm sure the Cubs are going to want to clean this up. I mean, the ball doesn't hit the ground, and he gets a wild pitch, and it barely, it might even be on the width of the plate. It's just a lazy attempt. And you know, as a catcher behind the plate, when you are catching a ball or attempting to catch a ball with 2 strikes, that there's a possibility you're going to have to block it and throw the ball down to first to get the runner, batter runner. There was not much effort there.
Now Adrian Gonzalez, a double, a run scored in 2 at-bats.
I think it'd be huge if the Dodgers could take advantage of it now. Get a guy on after a strikeout, and that, you mentioned pass ball that they called a wild pitch, but Get a guy in scoring position and knock a few in would really hurt the Cubs.
In the third inning, Puig led off with a single to center, would go to second on a wild pitch. I'm sorry, on a pass ball. And this time he gets to first base. What's called a wild pitch and appeared to be a pass ball. And there's the red hot Matt Kemp awaiting. Gonzalez with his 112th run batted into the year in his first at bat, and he drills one foul.
That's one of those pitches where he was guessing right. He was unloading. The ball was just so far in on him, he couldn't keep it fair. Adrian unloads, feeling it, but it just too far in there, and maybe started a little too early.
And Fedorovich got a wake-up call down there. They have changed it to a strikeout pass ball, not a wild pitch.
I texted the official score.
I was wondering. I have a tendency to listen to you, Earl.
What can I say?
Or unless they're blocking your number, I don't know. And then they're listening to somebody else.
Kemp on deck. Puig at first. The Dodgers lead 4-2 with one out in the top of the fifth. Finally, the overcast has broken for the time being, and beautiful Wrigley Field, all 100 years old of it, emblazoned on this Sunday afternoon. Kemp on deck, Ramirez to follow. Puig is at first. Now 3-1.
Here's another count where Adrian's going to maybe sit on something on the inner half, or take even a ball in the outer half and pull it, because he's got that man on first and that big hole over there. The wind is blowing out to right, and all the elements tell you as a left-handed hitter that there's more hits to right field than there is up the middle or to left.
Puig being held on by Rizzo at first. So the count is full. Does Mattingly send Puig in a 4-2 game in the fifth with one out?
I like his chances of running.
I think he does.
Yep. Adrian Gonzalez can handle the bat, knows the difference between a ball and a strike. You're not putting extra pressure on him to decide what the pitch is, because he has good command of the strike zone. You got a right-hander on the mound that Yasiel should be able to get a decent jump off of.
On 3-2, there he goes.
You were talking about slides earlier, Oral, and it looks like Yasiel hurt himself on that slide.
Stan Conti comes running out immediately.
Oh,
no.
What's he doing? Oh, God.
Left ankle.
Right.
The right ankle.
The right one.
Right ankle. Got it.
See, he sees it and turns and just don't.
Well, he watches the shortstop pull up.
Yeah, you can't.
And you can't stop your slide.
You don't do that. You just slide.
That's a small ankle trying to stop a big body all by itself.
The right ankle. Right there.
He watches Baez ease up, and so he decides to ease up and not do the slide, and that's just not the thing to do.
Stan Conti wants to make sure that Puig is okay. That's Lorenzo Bundy. Dodger fans holding their breaths now.
You know, there are times as a shortstop when I would see a guy who was stealing, and let's say it was ball 4, and I knew there wasn't a play or foul ball, and I'd be like, up, foul ball, just so the guy didn't have to slide, just to let him know, just as a courteous and being. And then there are times where I knew there wasn't a play like that, where I see the guy possibly going down. You just don't say anything. You just let him suck, because I don't want to tell him up as he's going down. You just say, go ahead.
Thing, yep.
Right. Just, I won't say a word. You're already committed. You do what you're supposed to so you don't hurt yourself. And right there, Yasiel, once you make your mind up to slide, you just go ahead with it.
Of all of his baseball skills that are great, sliding ain't one of them.
No.
Has not been.
Maybe that's why he runs through stop signs.
There may be something to that.
Right.
I don't know how to stop, and I don't know how to slide.
Well, he's got a left wrist protector for bad head first slide. Now Kemp is at second base.
We're very fortunate he's just standing out there still playing. That could have been ugly.
So Kemp with a 2-run home run, and he's flied to right. The Dodgers with a 4-2 lead. Boys, Matt Kemp is unbelievable. And here comes Puig, bad ankle and all. Throw to the plate. Safe. He chose not to slide, and the Dodgers are just as happy about that. And the Dodgers lead 5-2.
Maybe that's why he doesn't have to slide, because he's so fast there's never a play on him. It's unbelievable.
Rick Renteria coming out.
Matt Kemp once again coming up clutch with 2 outs, coming up with the big hit, and Yasiel hustling around, and he's in there.
He used a healthy ankle to touch the plate.
Yep. It looked like at first he was preparing his body once again to slide. You notice that, right?
He's when in between.
And then he's just like, I'm going in standing up.
So Kemp with 3 RBIs on the day. Puig with 3 runs scored, and the Dodgers lead 5-2.
Well, that's a good job by the Dodgers, taking advantage of that strikeout pass ball on Yasiel.
Into short center field, Alcantara is there, and that'll end the inning. Dodgers exhale after Puig twists his ankle, stays in the game, and promptly runs from second to the plate on an RBI single for Kemp. We go beyond the dugout and into the Dodger clubhouse with Alana Rizzo. She goes one-on-one with Don Mattingly to get the inside scoop from the Diamond. Don't miss Dodgers clubhouse tomorrow at 5:30 on Sportsnet LA. He's okay. Baez leads off in the bottom of the 5th as Frias begins his 3rd inning of relief. Dodgers 5 runs and 8 hits. The Cubs 2 runs and 5 base hits. Rizzo and Valbuena to follow. And Frias falls behind 2-0. Baez 1 for 2, single to center and line to third. That was against Jamie Wright, who went 2 innings, a run, and 3 hits. Frias falls behind immediately, 3 balls and no strikes. A 4-pitch walk to a free swinger. Begin the 5th. And a leadoff walk.
That's one thing the Dodgers pitchers have done so far is they've been able to get that leadoff batter out. That's the first one to reach base. Let's see if Carlos Frias can hopefully get that ground ball to possibly get a double play.
And again, with this bullpen by committee and the importance of this game, how quickly will Mattingly and Honeycutt get their bullpen together here in the 5th? As Frias misses inside and low, 1 ball, no strikes. Well, the Dodger bullpen's about ready to go to work. And Chris Perez in San Diego later on. It's going to be Ryan Vogelsong and Ian Kennedy. Dodger magic number is 5. And of course, after today, the 3 most important games of the year, the Giants and Dodgers at Chavez Ravine, as Rizzo takes a strike, 1-1. He's 0 for 2. Valbuena on deck. Frias misses low and outside. Frias now at 37 pitches and just 21 for strikes, but he has struck out 3, and the leadoff walk to Baez here in the 5th. 3-1. The leash gets tighter for young Mr. Frias.
It gets you nervous when he gets behind in the count. Big hitters and big swingers like Anthony Rizzo.
Dodgers lead by 3. Frias delivers. Well, he's walked the first 2 batters here in the 5th, and how much longer will Mattingly stay with him?
Rick Honeycutt's going to pay him a visit.
For the tying run, Valbuena will be coming to the plate.
A lot of different reasons for Rick to visit, of course. First and second, no out to go over the possible bunt situation, but I'm not sure the Cubs will bunt. And then you got to give time to Chris Perez to get ready in case something negative happens after this hitter. They'll probably change the pitcher, and then also settle down the young fella, get him in the strike zone, because we can't help you unless you throw strikes.
Valbuena, left-handed batter. Castillo on deck, a righty. Alcantara after that, a switch hitter, and then Valleca and Caesar are both right-handed batters. Cubs have 8 players on their bench, 7 really. Starlin Castro's got a sprained ankle. He's a right-handed hitter. Not likely to see him. Junior Lake, Mike Olt, and Jorge Soler, right-handed batters off the bench. Baker, Kalish, Rafael Lopez, and Logan Watkins, left-handed batters. Valbuena takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Valbuena with 16 home runs, 50 runs batted in, has doubled and walked and scored a run today. He's the tying run at the plate. to the right side and into right field for a base hit. In to score is Baez, and going to third is Rizzo on an RBI single to right by Valbuena. It is now 5-3. So the walks come back to bite Frias.
He gets the ground ball that could produce a double play. But after the walks, again, sometimes the ground balls find holes, and if you don't have the walk prior to that, it's okay. It's just a scratch single. But now it's an RBI and a bigger jam.
Wright walked 2 in 2 innings. Frias has walked 2 in 2+ innings. And Castillo with 11 home runs. Ball gets past Ellis, and in to score is Rizzo. It is now 5-4.
That one just totally missed the spot. He was looking for that pitch in. Fastball, and he gets that one just in the dirt away, and unable to get that glove out and kind of take away and short hop it.
Valbuena's a tying run at second base. Still nobody out. Big swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. You can't defense walks. Second run at the bottom of the 5th. Dodgers have not trailed in this game. Then again, they didn't trail until the 7th inning yesterday. High and inside.
Carlos Frias looks like now he's throwing out of anger. It's like everything that I worried about has happened. I might as well just cut it loose. And if he can take inventory of this feeling and get a few guys out, maybe shut this inning down, he might find that fear and anxiety are the wrong tool to take to the mound.
There's a strike.
Anger and aggression sometimes can be a very good, useful tool. It erases any doubt and just gets you in there and gets the best out of you.
Still looking for his first out here in the 5th. Frias does a good job in freezing Valbuena. There's 1 out. That'll bring up, there's Mendy Alcantara, who has doubled and has been struck out today. Alcantara hit his 10th home run of the year yesterday in J.P. Howell's rugged 7th inning. Swing and a miss, 0-1. J.P. an unusually rugged inning. 4 runs, 3 hits, 24 pitches, only 10 for strikes. Talking to him after the game, said, I just got my pitches up. I have no excuse. But he has been so good for so long this year. 0-2 to Alcantara.
Carlos Frias now looks like he's aggressive and free and easy. The ball has a lot more late life. He's down in the strike zone. He's walking around out there like, come on, let's go. Let's just get this done. And he's not worried about any negative results. He's just letting go and expecting to get somebody out.
This is his 50th pitch. And he strikes out Alcantara.
What did you say, Oral? Anger and aggression?
Yep.
Sometimes you need it. Something tells me you use that quite a bit when you were out there. And right now, if that's what he's feeling and that's what he's thinking, it's definitely working.
trying to limit the damage here in the bottom of the 5th. Valleca has walked and struck out. Matt Caesar on deck. Looking ahead to the 6th inning, Crawford, Uribe, and Ellis, and if anybody gets on, a pinch hitter for Frias. So in all likelihood, this will be the last inning for Frias, now at 51 pitches. One ball and one strike.
The AJ just kind of go to it with his glove right there, put his hands up and kind of go right in here. And AJ's not calming him down as much as he is bring that aggression in here in the strike zone.
The veteran catcher with his rookie right-hander. One ball, two strikes. Perez now has company in the Dodger bullpen. Scott Elbert, so a righty and a lefty. Here's the 1-2. Now back. So Perez is warm and ready. Elbert is in the process of getting warm. The 1-2. They'll do it again. Giants failed to score in the top of the 1st in San Diego. Three and a half between the Dodgers and Giants. 6 to play after today. 2-2. Vogelsong and Kennedy are the pitchers at Petco. Two balls, two strikes, and two out. And a one-run game in the bottom of the 5th. Valbuena leads from second. The count is full.
Back there gathering himself and convincing himself to be aggressive right now. 3-2. Let's go. Giving himself a pep talk. He does not want to come off of this mound without the 3rd out. He doesn't want to be taken out of this game.
This could well be his last pitch. Either way. Got him swinging. 5 strikeouts for Frias. Got himself into trouble with a couple of walks. Surrendered a couple of runs. Leaves a base runner. Will go to the 6th inning with the Dodgers leading now by 1. Chicago, the 21st of September. 64 at game time. The wind has been steadily blowing in and now toward right field. And Zach Roskup, the lefty, is on in relief. Jacob Turner. Turner went 5 innings, 5 runs and 8 hits. And Roskup, the Dodgers have seen him a couple of times. And an ERA that's, well, up there. With the lefty Carl Crawford leading it off. It is Roskup on in relief. Crawford 0 for 2. Fly to left back in the 3rd inning. Swings and misses, and it's 0-1. Hanley Ramirez at first was off and running. Past second base, retraced his steps to first, and will be thrown out. Mr. Basic 7-3 double play. Uribe and Ellis to follow as Roskup delivers low. Crawford since August the 10th has been one of the hottest hitters in the game. He went around. Since August 10th, Crawford's hitting .412. 3 home runs and 20 runs batted in. Takes a call, strike 3. Now Uribe, who's 0 for 2.
Carl didn't like the call, and it's like maybe it just catches the bottom of the strike zone. The width is good. I don't know about the height.
Uribe takes high and away. Zach Roskup, 6'2", 205. He's from Portland, Oregon. A 6-year pro, had a little cup of coffee late last year with the Cubs. Dodgers nurse a 5-4 lead. Perez continues to warm in the bullpen, so it would appear it's the end of the line for Frias.
One more inning with this score the way it is, and we got him right where we want him. We got a lead with 3 innings to go.
I don't know if Don Mattingly would say that.
Wow. He would have said it last night.
Oh.
You're only going to use 3 pitchers to get to the 7th, and you're going to have a lead.
But frankly, one of the Dodgers' sources of strength has not been the bullpen all year. Dodger collective bullpen ERA 3.75 ranks them 11th out of the 15 teams. Their 1-loss record is 15-23, and only the Reds bullpen has 1 fewer games than the Dodgers. So, but them's the cards they had to play with today.
Exactly.
Uribe has split the seam, and he will go to second base. Again, we're talking about the groin muscle issue that has slowed Uribe some. In fact, Turner started at third base yesterday. So Uribe is aboard with his 22nd double of the year.
And it looked like he was being smart with it when he hit this ball, like he was aware when he was running. You know, he got out of the box right. It was double, but when he was actually getting to second base, it looked like he was going, okay, they still haven't caught the ball quite yet. But if he had another, you know, just another level to run in, which he knows he doesn't because of that groin, he shut it down at second, which is smart, which is a wise thing to do.
This is Chris Bosio coming out to talk to Roskup. So that's a veteran move. The Dodgers, by the way, are second in the National League in doubles. The Rockies are the only team with more. Dodgers, of course, have Puig, Gonzalez, Kemp, and Ramirez with 35 doubles or more. Now home plate umpire Jerry Davis, the crew chief, said, fellas, about time. And so they scatter. All except Wellington Castillo. And now he comes back. A.J. Ellis, who's had a pretty good road trip with a bat in his hand. 1 for 2 today. Had the 2 home runs on Friday night. Big swing and a miss, and it's 0-1. In this game, Yasiel Puig jammed an ankle sliding into second base. Shaken up, stayed in the game. Now you've got Uribe at second base. He was fighting a bit of a groin issue. This is the 156th game of the year. Everybody's worn out and looking for that second shot of adrenaline a week from today when the regular season comes to an end. And then it's just a matter of winning 11 measly games in October. Justin Turner is in the on deck circle. And there hasn't been a better pinch hitter in the game this year than Justin Turner. Valleca shaded toward the bag at second, keeping Uribe close. Outfield straight away. And Roscoe apparently is waiting till nightfall.
I think he's waiting for the shadows to get in the way of the batter, so give himself an edge.
Well, they've just had a meeting at the mound with the pitching coach and the entire infield. And that was 2 pitches ago.
Well, Chris Bosio went to the mound and there wasn't anybody activity in the Cubs bullpen, and it was a very long meeting. It was almost like he was also out there waiting to get the shadow to help the Cubs this inning.
And there's still nobody in the Cub bullpen. 1-1 to Ellis. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I was a tad mystified when he came out after, 1 out double to Uribe. The only thing I could think of baseball wise is, okay, maybe he saw something in the delivery or the mannerisms of his pitcher. The other thing I thought, don't think the pitcher is going to hit. Justin Turner's on deck, reminding the young fellow that the pitcher's not going to come up, so we're not pitching around Ellis. And then the other thing, as long as he took, I'm like, is he waiting for the shadow?
1 ball, 2 strikes to A.J. Ellis. Well hit to left. Way back. But the wind cuts it down. Matt Kemp had 2 of those the other night. The wind blowing in and toward right.
Well, we talked about A.J. Ellis swinging the bat very well as of late, and that was in the same spot he had the 2 home run game the other day. It was a ball in on the inner half to him, and he's smiling because that's the exact kind of smirk we saw from Matt Kemp when he hit the ball deep to left field and the wind kept it in the ballpark.
Now, we're not going to put A.J. Ellis and Matt Kemp in the same power category, but they do have the same facial expression.
Exactly. But but that one, he knew he hit it pretty decent there, and it just stayed in.
So instead of Turner, now with 2 out, it'll be Van Slyke batting for Frias. Kemp victimized on 2 potential home runs on Thursday night. Ellis hit 2 home runs on Friday night. And then Just got under it. It's interesting you guys talking about how this is not necessarily a hitter's park. Ellison certainly found that out the hard way.
It's not a hitter's park. I mean, I know people assume, oh, it's a hitter's park, and we talked about it before. It was only about 25% when the wind actually blows out throughout the home games. 25% of the home games, that's what the average usually is. And the other thing we talked about is how thick the grass is cut. So it's not like, well, okay, when the wind's blowing in, keep the ball on the ground and try to find holes that way, because the grass is so thick it slows it down.
And here's a 1 o'clock start game, and you're already going to start dealing with the shadows in the second half of the game.
And that's always a factor.
The friendly and cozy confines of Wrigley Field. Not so cozy after all. Here's the 1-2 to Van Slyke. Checks his swing. It's 2-2 with D. Gordon on deck. It's 25-4 on this Sunday afternoon in Chicago. And for the next little while, the shadows will be part of this game. Two balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out. 3-2.
It can't be a lot of fun with that flag shadow rattling in front of home plate in front of Scott Van Slyke's eyes. You think he sees that or not?
Might. And you hope you're really just focused on the pitcher and what's coming at you about 90 plus.
Line, fair ball into the left field corner, into the Cub bullpen. Uribe will score a pinch hit double for Van Slyke, and the Dodgers take a 6-4 lead. Pinch hit double for Scott Van Slyke.
Well, this is a good at bat by Scott Van Slyke. He gets that breaking ball, and it wasn't down and in. It wasn't that back foot breaking ball. It was up. It was over the plate, and he gets the barrel out there in front and pulls it and keeps it just fair down the line.
Well, you got the bubbles machine and the doubles machine. Dodgers second in the National League in 2 base hits. And today, 4 doubles. Gonzalez, Ramirez, Uribe, and the pinch hit 2 base hit for Van Slyke, and the Dodgers lead by 2. Gordon been among the most clutch hitters in the league this year. No balls and 2 strikes. So Frias, at this point, I assume be the pitcher of record should the Dodgers win. Certainly wasn't going to be Wright. Ball strike 3, and Gordon is done. So are the Dodgers, but not before a 1-out double by Uribe and a 2-out pinch hit double for Van Slyke. Dodgers lead at 6-4 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. home tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday. Tomorrow night, Herron and Peavy. Tuesday night, Greinke and Bumgarner. Wednesday night, Kershaw and Hudson. And then next weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the Rockies. And then the postseason begins. So here's Chris Perez as we go to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Frias goes 3. 3 runs and 3 hits earned. 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Dodgers trying to follow the yellow brick road to the finish. Ryan Kalish is pinch hitting. And he fouls it off. And Logan Watkins is on deck. So with the righty Perez on, the lefty Kalish and the lefty Watkins will lead it off here. And in the meantime, Scott Elbert warming up in the bullpen again for the Dodgers. Elbert trying to make a late season charge into the postseason roster. Here's the first out. Kalish with a little humpback liner into the glove of Hanley Ramirez. 1 gone. Now here's Logan Watkins. Dodgers going inning by inning now. Leading by 2. Padres hitting in the bottom of the 2nd, scoreless with the Giants. Watkins 15 for 58. Now it's not only a matter of inning by inning, it's almost out by out. 1 ball, 1 strike. When we leave Wrigley Field, I'll not miss this press box PA.
I don't like to talk when he's talking. I like the viewers to hear him.
And they can, loud and clear.
They can hear him in Rockford. Two balls and a strike with 1 out, nobody on. Perez at 92. Lefties are hitting just .209 against Perez this year.
Good pitch right there, and he didn't get the call. That looked like it caught the outside corner, came back, started off as a ball, and caught it and didn't get it. Right there. Maybe it was down. It looked like he caught the corner.
Carl Crawford had a breaking ball that low from a lefty, called a strike.
Do it again. Chris Perez last pitched on Wednesday in Colorado. It's been about a month, early August to the 1st of September, on the DL with bone spurs. Well, it's 2 out.
Same location, different pitch. Last time he was down in that corner was a breaking ball. Here's the fastball, stays right there at the hollow of the knee, and he gets the call.
Now here's Chris Coughlin. Coughlin, yesterday's hero, 1 for 3 this afternoon.
We had a few shutdown possibility innings today and got 2 in the first. We shut them down in the bottom of the first. We got 2 in the third. Didn't shut them down in the bottom of the third. They got 1. We got 1 an inning or so ago, then gave up 2. Now we got 1 again, and Chris Perez trying to put a 0 on the board.
Frias had a perfect inning in the 4th, and Perez has retired the first 2 batters here in the bottom of the 6th. Coughlin, Rookie of the Year, about 5 years back with the Marlins. With all the young players on their way up from AA and AAA to the Cubs, Coughlin, some are saying, he's a seat filler until the new kids get here, but he's done a nice job this year. And Perez ahead 1-2.
Well, they say you're a seat filler until you perform and you're doing well and you're having success. They're going, never mind. Let's just clean that seat right off and you can put your name on it.
That or you become a nice trade chip.
Or that too.
Mm-hmm.
As you try and time it up where all your young fellows are ready.
Just outside.
Look what happened to Justin Turner's career this year.
He was out of work at the end of November. The Mets just let him go. Now the 2-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Welcome back, Chris Perez. Retires the Cubs in order, striking out 2 of 3. We go to the 7th. Puig and Gonzalez and Kemp will be coming up. Field. Cubs about to use their 3rd pitcher of the day. Yuji Fujikawa making his 15th appearance. Dodgers saw him the other day, an ERA of 5.25. And it will be Yasiel Puig who will lead it off for the Dodgers in the 7th. In the 6th inning, an adventuresome inning for Puig. Strikeout, pass ball, then going to second base. Well, the slide wasn't as he planned, and there was concern that he might have done some damage to the ankle, but that fear was quickly allayed as Matt Kemp would single home Puig. Dodgers lead it 6-4 as we head to the 7th inning. So Puig today has been on base 3 times. He scored 3, a couple of base hits, a stolen base, and a swollen ankle. He runs into walls. He generally wins those battles. He dives into the ground. He usually wins those battles. And he is now at 302 on the year.
But sliding into bases, I don't know if he wins those all the time, Charlie.
He survived. Let's put it that way.
That's a good way to put it.
He survived. Puig takes outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Yeah, that would not be fair to say that he wins his battles with the walls either.
Yeah.
But he doesn't lose them. "15 home runs, 66 runs batted in." Fujikawa is the 3rd Cub pitcher of the day. 2 balls and no strikes. Yesterday, Puig made a spectacular catch in left center field. Uncorked a throw, fell backwards, and it looked like he had hurt his right arm. Small potatoes. The right side is a little off balance today, apparently, between the shoulder and the ankle. 2-1 to Puig with Gonzalez on deck and Kemp to follow. Steady breeze blowing in all day from left field toward right. Right on the button, but right at the shortstop Baez. And past Rizzo, and there goes Puig to second. What ankle? He's unbelievable.
Well, he turned something bad by the Cubs into something good for the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, hustling down the line, and you can see the frustration of Fujikawa right there, but going down the line, running hard.
And then making the sharp turn.
Yeah, and let's not forget, it's the right ankle, and there he goes. And then even there, you're going, okay, are you going to slide, or are you going to stay?
No.
Stand up, please.
No.
Just stand up.
Will the real Yasiel please stand up? Well, here's Gonzalez. He's got a double, an RBI, a run scored today. 112 runs batted in, and he lines up base hit into left field. Puig will be held at third base. It was almost as if Lorenzo Bundy was saying, please.
You know, Yasiel still hasn't. There you go. Now you touched it.
Finally touched it, didn't
yeah.
he?
Oh, that.
You know, I know you become your own base runner on the base pass. Oftentimes, if you can see the ball, if you can run with your head on the swivel to some degree, you don't often need your third base coach. But when you're coming in to score like that, you know, it's his decision. It really is, and you really have to focus on him, because he's got a better angle than you do as you're running. And also, he may just hold you up for whatever reason, and you have to listen. And Yasiel doesn't want to pick up Lorenzo for some reason today.
Yasiel Puig at third, Gonzalez at first, and Matt Kemp takes a ball. Kemp flied to right, homered to right, single to left, and has knocked in 3. Lifting his average to 284. And has had just a sensational second half of the year. Again, I defer to you completely on this one, Nomar, but again, watching Kemp from the day he arrived in the major leagues, and you were there too when he basically arrived. And then his career actually ran into a wall quite literally in Colorado, and the follow through with that left shoulder that he damaged. Finally, it looks like he's free and easy with that follow through.
Yeah, the health is definitely there, and you're seeing that, especially the second half of this season. I mean, the shoulder was definitely there, healthy, and you saw that. You can see that at spring training going into this year and at the beginning of the year, but it was also the ankle was a factor as well. So now I think the ankle, the shoulder, I think he's able to put that behind him, and now he's just all focused on his approach at the plate, and right now his approach looks spot on.
Talking to him the other day, said he's looking forward to the off season because it'll be the first time in a couple of years he won't have to rehab anything. He can actually rest.
Well, there's two things. There's rest, that you'll be able to get, and also to work out the way you would like to.
Different workout, a rehab workout compared to a strength workout.
31,933 watching this one today. Dodgers lead by 2, runners at the corners, and nobody out in the 7th. A drop shot volley into right. Puig comes in to score. Kemp's 4th RBI of the day, and the Dodgers lead 7-4. When you're hot, you're hot.
When you're swinging the bat well and it's going through the strike zone the way you like, you end up staying on this ball, even if you're fooled a little bit, even if you're out front a little bit, as in Matt Kemp's case right there on that ball. But the bat angle going through the zone, consistent, and still able to square the ball up and get a base hit.
So the Dodgers now a 3-run lead. Puig's been on base 4 times today and has scored 4. Ramirez 2 for 3 and an RBI. Gonzalez at second base, and Kemp is at first. High and outside. Bottom of the 3rd in San Diego. Giants and Padres no score. Neither team has a hit yet. So Puig with his 4 runs scored, you may have heard, a career high. And the Dodgers in this series against the Cubs have scored 35 runs. And on the road trip, 74.
They needed him coming into this game. The last 6 games, the starter's ERA has been 9.26, and the bullpen's ERA has been 6.18. Needed all the offense they could.
Wasn't pretty, but the Dodgers will take it. Gonzalez will go to third base, and Kemp will go to second. And Fujikawa from the seat of his pants, and that's certainly worthy of a Carl's Cam replay. Wouldn't you agree?
Of course. And this is frustrating as a hitter because you do everything right. You hit the ball right back up the middle. You square it around, yet the pitcher knocks it down and still composed while sitting down on the ground. Makes the throw. Athletes, right, Oral? Athletes.
You talking about the hitters?
No, the pitchers.
I know.
Yeah, oh, yeah, they're.
We are.
I know.
A few.
I was going to say, please, just say some of them.
Cubs bring the infield in, 2nd and 3rd with 1 out, a run in. And Crawford can provide some big distance for the Dodgers here in the 7th. Fouls it back. It's 0-1. Crawford 0 for 3. Slide to left twice and struck out.
He's hit the ball well to left field twice today. They can use that again with a man on third. Less than 2 outs.
Gonzalez at third. Kemp is at second. Fujikawa's 15th pitch of the 7th inning. Ball and a strike. Crawford hitting over 400 since August the 10th. So about the last 6 weeks. 3 home runs, 20 runs batted in. 2-1. Uribe on deck. Ellis to follow. Cubs have bullpen activity. Dan Straley, who the Dodgers lit up the other night. Into short left field. And the wind blows it out of play. Meanwhile, Chris Perez pitched a spotless 6th inning, and the Dodger bullpen is quiet in the 7th.
See, if he comes with a breaking ball, the one thing Carl Crawford has done really well is that breaking ball that's kind of coming down and in on him. So there's a spot where pitchers like to throw it.
Infield remains in. The 2-2 to Crawford. Remember, Crawford was on the disabled list for more than a month earlier in the year when he sprained his ankle.
That was a gruesome injury out there on the warning track of Dodger Stadium in the left field corner. Boy, he was swinging the bat awfully hot before he got hurt right then. Was talking about how great his legs had felt, the healthiest he had been in a long, long time.
And now he is again. It took a while. Here comes the 2-2, 2nd and 3rd. The second baseman, Valleca, never had his foot on the bag. So the Dodgers get the bases loaded.
I think they called that one a base hit already.
Yep.
Adrian Gonzalez with his wheels had to freeze with the infield in. And then with the thought of checking and then tossing, Carl's going to beat it out anyway, even if his foot's on the bag.
Yeah, even if his foot's on the bag. We saw the first base umpire, Greg Gibson, almost like make a gesture like, no, he's off the bag, but really didn't matter whether his foot was on or off. He beat that out.
So Uribe with a big moment in the game with the bases loaded. Gonzalez and Kemp and Crawford. Uribe a double in 3 at-bats. Infield back hoping for a double play. Strike, nothing in 1.
Now this is one where if you're dealing with a groin injury, you're really telling yourself, I need to get this ball up. I don't want to hit that ground ball. I don't want to, because this is the time where you hit that ground ball and you want that RBI. You know you want to, this late in the game where you take a misstep out of the box.
Dodgers as a team hitting 180 with the bases loaded. Paco Rodriguez now beginning to warm. Still with 1 out here in the 7th inning. Ellis on deck. And Perez due to hit after that. So that's why Paco is now up. Dodgers with a run here in the 7th. Leading by 3. Uribe trying to blow it open. That's not going to happen. 6, 4, and 3. Dodgers come up with a run. An unearned run at that. 3 hits and leave 2. 7th inning stretch. 7-4 Dodgers. Miguel Rojas takes over at shortstop with the Dodgers leading by 3 as we head to the other half of the 7th inning stretch. And Chris Perez, who retired the Cubs in order in the 6th inning on 16 pitches, striking out 2, is on to pitch the bottom of the 7th. Javier Baez will be leading it off. So the Dodgers score a run in the 7th, but leave the bases loaded as Uribe bounces into the 6-4-3 inning ender. Baez and Rizzo and Valbuena to bat. Perez misses 2 balls and no strikes. Dodgers had a real glorious chance there to deliver a knockout blow. So they keep the Cubs within shouting distance. Perez delivers a strike, 2-1. Baez is single, lined to third, walked and scored a run today. So Paco Rodriguez has company out in the bullpen now. On the corner, 2-2. Baez arrived with much fanfare, hitting 3 home runs in his first 3 games. In his last 26, batting .136 and striking out a lot. A fan in the second tier made a one-handed, barehanded catch. It's going to hurt in the morning. The 2-2.
Where the Cubs are in these young players' development, a lot of times they want these guys to come up here and just play relaxed and show all their wares, and they really don't overcoach them right now or change things. And with Baez, they probably are at the point now where they want him to experience enough failure so that next spring training and even this winter they can start to work on the rough edges of his game.
The deep right center field, but now Kemp battling the wind. And he hangs on to the ball.
Multiple highlights today for Matt Kemp. Home runs and circus catches.
I don't know if that's a highlight, because can you create it as yourself? A way to stay with it, because he was going back. He thought that ball was hit deeper in that right center, and then he had to come in and hits the heel of his glove.
Well, that'll be the end of the line for Chris Perez, with the lefty Rizzo coming up.
That was a routine fly out to right, 9-9.
Paco Rodriguez is on his way in. So Perez does his job, retiring all 4 batters he's asked to retire. Mission accomplished. Rizzo coming up, Paco Rodriguez coming in. Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Subway. Get a great deal on this month's $6 footlong special, the Italian BMT, or the $3 Super 6-inch Select, the Sweet Onion Chicken Teriyaki. Subway, eat fresh. You wonder why and how Wrigley Field is configured as it is? It's right in the middle of the north side of Chicago, on the corner of Sheffield and Addison. So these are not configured dimensions. This is what they were able to fit in when it was built in 1914. So here's Paco Rodriguez, his 17th appearance, facing Rizzo with 1 out and nobody on in the bottom of the 7th. Meanwhile, Chris Perez, an inning and a third, he was perfect with 2 strikeouts. So the bullpen by committee, so far so good, helped by 7 Dodger runs today. There's a strike. Rizzo has walked and scored a run. He's bounced out and has been struck out. Padres coming up to bat in the bottom of the 4th, scoreless with San Francisco at Petco Park. Valbuena on deck. There's a strike. And again, talking about the bullpen by committee and how and who and when the various fellas would come in. With back-to-back left-handers, Rizzo and Valbuena hitting here in the 7th inning. Here's Paco, lefty against lefty. Again, lefty and lefty after that.
And now we're into the part of the game where the Dodgers will use the bullpen in a very traditional way with the matchups, and Kenley Jansen will have the 9th, of course, if it's 3 runs or less in a lead. And the 8th inning, they've been trying to patch together with Brian Wilson and J.P. Howell, and even Baez has been getting a shot in some of the later innings.
On 2-2, Rizzo into center field, and there is Yasiel fighting the elements, makes the catch, 2 out.
Well, we've seen 2 odd routes by the center fielder now, Yasiel Puig and Matt Kemp, and the wind has really shifted here since the sun has started to go down and the temperatures have dropped, and now the wind is still blowing towards right, but more in from right instead of across. They're having to adjust to that change.
2 out and nobody on.
That's when you know that the wind is being a factor, because you have 2 people who took odd routes, not just 1.
And Ellis thought he had himself a home run back in the 6th inning until the wind cut that down, as it cut down 2 potential home runs for Kemp a couple of nights back. A ball and a strike to Luis Valbuena, as Paco Rodriguez also making a bid for a spot on the postseason roster. Valbuena with 2 out. 2-1. Valbuena, a single, a double, a walk, and a run scored. He's also driven in a run. He's had a good series against the Dodgers. Castillo on deck, and the 2-1. 3-1. The right-handed hitting Castillo on deck. League is warm and ready in the bullpen if need be. There's a strike. 3-2. Dodgers trying to piece together the final 7 outs of this puzzle. Valbuena with 16 home runs, 51 runs batted in, and the 3-2. Paco Rodriguez strikes him out, and that'll end the inning. So Perez and Paco, perfect in 2 innings. You think it's easy playing in the outfield on a windy day in Chicago? Dodgers.com/shop for the largest online selection of authentic MLB postseason caps, t-shirts, jerseys, sweatshirts, and more. Get set for the Dodgers' exciting postseason run in all the latest gear and support them in their quest for the World Series. Want what the players are wearing on the field? Get your official championship straight from the source, the Dodgers.com shop. Dan Straley came over from the A's in the Samardzija deal. Straley making his 6th appearance. Dodgers face Straley in the 14-5 shellacking they administered to the Cubs on Friday night. And A.J. Ellis takes a strike. It's 0-1. Ellis today is 1 for 3.
The Dodgers so far have done a pretty good job just finding a way to get runs here and there on the innings, not really just relying on one big inning that we have seen on this road trip where they have an inning where they just explode for a large amount of runs.
Ellis is down, first out of the 8th. Now Jock Peterson is going to pinch hit for Paco Rodriguez. And the rookie right-hander Pedro Baez warming in the Dodger bullpen. Fascinating. The confidence now that Mattingly and Honeycutt have in Baez. A year and a half ago, a light-hitting third baseman with a great arm. Now he doesn't have to worry about the light hitting anymore.
Yeah, watching Baez throw now, just him himself, you would say, okay, young fella, great arm and throwing well. Well, but you put that in combination with the other late inning bullpen pieces the Dodgers have had this year and how the inconsistencies have been there. All of a sudden, his stock really rises.
Howell had a rare off day yesterday, and then Wilson with the 2-run home run to Coughlin in the 8th. And they're going with the hard-throwing right-hander to get ready for the 8th inning. Peterson on 0-2 takes high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Little did we know, we were telling the story about Peterson picking up the coffee at Starbucks the other day. There'd be a camera following. Sitting in Mattingly's office, and there he is in full uniform and sunglasses. Skip, you want anything?
So that will be a mini feature on Backstage Dodgers, I'm sure.
It's all over the internet now.
Boy,
it was hysterically funny. Put the sunglasses on like nobody's going to recognize him with number 65 and Peterson on the back of his jersey. That'll work.
It could have been a really exuberant fan.
It wasn't.
Exactly.
3 balls and 2 strikes.
I wonder if anybody asked him, are you a player?
Might have been the bat boy.
The security guy in front.
Yeah. You have any credentials?
Yeah.
No. The shirt's authenticated.
3-2, and here comes Peterson, and then he fouls it off to the left. They're going to the 5th in San Diego. Scoreless. 1 hit for the Giants, none for the Padres. Vogelsong and Kennedy the pitchers. And Peterson works out a walk. Does it get any cuter than that? Perhaps by the time she's a grown up, the Cubs will win something. I've fallen and I can't get up. The only Dodger without a hit today is D. Gordon, and he's got a 12-game hitting streak on the line. Dodgers 7 runs and 13 hits. The Cubs 4 runs and 6 base hits. Seven runs and 13 bases. One ball, one strike, and one out. This is the 10th game of the road trip, and the Dodgers have scored 74 runs. Into center field. And Alcantara's played here a while. 2 out. And that'll bring up Puig. Dodgers got to Straley the other night. 6 runs and 4 hits in an inning and a third. Puig's been on base all 4 times. He'd come around to score all 4 times. So Puig, 2 hits. Got a board strikeout pass ball. Got a board on an error. Twisted his ankle on an ugly slide to second base, and he was down for about 10 seconds. The Dodgers can hang on. Their magic number will be down to 4 with 6 to play to win the National League Western Division.
They do it. They've written some exciting chapters. It was a mystery.
It was a mystery. It was a roller coaster with seat belts required. And this guy's had an amazing year.
World travels too. I mean, the story started out in Arizona and then ended up in Australia. Moving on from there.
Before the Giants played a game this year, they were 1 game out of first place. Dodgers taking the 2 from Arizona. Slowly hit to short. Out by just a half a step. That will end the inning. No runs, no hits, and a man left. Dodgers have 6 outs to get the Cubs out of the way and then back home to LA.
They've out-hit him 13-6, and on the mound is Pedro Baez coming in with the 8th inning responsibility with this 3-run lead. You see Pedro's statistics: 17 games in his young career so far. The 4 holds, the ERA at 1.69 gives Don Mattingly and Rick Honeycutt an awful lot of confidence in this situation.
When he first came up, they said, all right, well, he's got a great arm, let's see what he's got. And then they would, before they sent him out, and I think it was just before the Dodgers were in Atlanta, and I was sitting in Mattingly's office, and he said, I sent him out, I told him I was sorry, it was a numbers game, but understand, you are being groomed to be a late inning guy. Closer not so much. Kenley Jansen is here, and here we are with, after today, 6 games left, pitching the 8th inning. And Wellington Castillo will be leading it off. Castillo 0 for 3. He had a tough Friday night. Took a foul tip off the ribs. Came out of that game, sat out yesterday, but back in the saddle today, and Baez delivers a fastball at 92 upstairs. 1 ball, no strikes. Top of the 5th in San Diego. Giants, Padres still scoreless. Two balls and no strikes. Now it's just a matter of Baez taking a deep breath. This is the biggest situation he's been in his young career, facing Castillo, Alcantara, and Valleca as we head to the 8th inning, bottom of the 8th. Dodgers lead by 3. There's a strike. That's the one thing, again, Mattingly had talking about Baez. He doesn't pitch scared.
I would be very upset with somebody who throws above 95 miles an hour if they pitch scared.
But it's the situations, I guess.
You're right.
That's what I'm saying. And here he is.
The circumstances change for every young pitcher. You first get to the big leagues and your eyes are wide open and you're trying to control the butterflies. Oh, you've arrived at your lifelong goal. And then you get a few guys out, or you get your ears pinned, and then you start to react to that. And it really comes down to trusting yourself. They wouldn't have called me up if they didn't think I could do this. And then it's continually taking inventory of what you're doing, how to improve, and how to recreate the good things. But when you're right, these circumstances change, and all of a sudden it's the 8th inning, and the pitching coach likes you, and the manager likes you. And even other teammates can start treating you differently. You know, and the clubhouse guy gets rumor that you're doing well, and he treats you differently, you know, and all of a sudden the fans want your autograph. And you just have to deal with all these different stimuluses all the time. And just remember to do your job.
Yeah, it's just the 8th inning of game 156.
Yep.
They used to have teammates call it credentials. You're getting credentials.
Yep.
You're getting more and more, so you could walk around with your chest a little bit higher.
3-2. Alcantara and Valleca to follow in the bottom of the 8th. Dodgers have not trailed in this game. 2 runs in the first. 4-2 after 3. 7-4 in the bottom of the 8th.
Yeah, on that, or you know, you feel more a part of it when you have other teammates, or a veteran guy from the bullpen that would go to Baez and say, hey, when you face that hitter, what did you see, or what did he do against you? You know, did you pick up anything? And you're like, oh, okay, now they're asking your opinion or your thoughts. That's when you feel like, I think I belong here.
and you can feel welcome when the guys that you might be bumping out of their job or at least inching up next to them continually try to help you also, compared to distance themselves.
On 3-2 to Castillo. Well hit to left. It is 7-5. Castillo's 12th home run of the year, cutting through the wind. And now Baez has to take a big gulp of air. The previous pitch, he launched a line drive down the left field line. And this time, he got it all.
Ball in the inner half, didn't get in far enough. Wellington Castillo did a nice job bringing his hands in well to get the barrel on that.
You know, a veteran on the mound, though, would think, you know what, 3-2. The mistake wasn't the 3-2 pitch. The mistake was getting to the 3-2 count, because once you get to 3-2 with a 3-run lead, you know you want to go strength against strength. We're not going to walk him. So here we go, and the guy caught up to it.
Now it's 7-5. Alcantara squares to bunt. Alcantara today has doubled in 3 at-bats. So the veteran Uribe is trying to settle down Baez. One of the issues for the Dodgers, not only down the stretch heading into the postseason, having been outscored as much as they have from the 8th inning on. Got underneath it, and Adrian Gonzalez is taking charge. First down. The Dodgers this year, now with the home run by Castillo, have been outscored from the 8th inning on, 139 to 115. That's the first down. So the Dodgers now 5 outs away from their 89th win. Kenley Jansen going to work. Chris Valaika 0 for 2 and a walk today.
Oh, Kenley getting up down there. They're looking at possibly a 4-out save to put this W in the book. Maybe not wanting Baez to face the tying run, but I don't think Kenley will be ready if Valaika gets on. But he's definitely going to be ready if this inning starts to spiral out of control.
Well, what's interesting is they have him up there, but he's not really throwing just yet. He's watching to see what the result might be here.
That's Chuck Krim, the bullpen coach. Now it's 7-5. Of course, a save situation. One ball and 2 strikes to Chris Valaika. Jansen would be in search of his 43rd save.
Multiple messages that go down when the bullpen phone rings. You got get him up. You got get him up for this particular hitter. And then you got stand up and just stay on the rubber just in case the inning starts to get out of the way.
Or stand in the sun and warm up a little bit.
Yeah. Some guys have such a regimen down there that when the phone rings and they're getting up, they have to take their coat off. Maybe they have to put a piece of gum in their mouth or something. Then they got to mosey on down. They got to get their ball. And so the pitching coaches know which guys have that. And they know how long it takes a guy to throw that first toss. And so sometimes those are the guys that you just want to get up and have standing there on the rubber.
One and two, one out, bottom of the 8th. Dodgers lead by 2, and a foul back and out of play. Paleka just gets a piece of that slider.
The two young right-handers we've seen from the Dodgers today, Carlos Frias and Pedro Baez, both still have their secondary stuff in development stage. Both their breaking balls are not put-away breaking balls yet, but they have the arm speed and the ability to spin the ball to develop them into put-away breaking balls.
Kalish on deck, a left-handed hitter. High.
And Oro, is that something you could work on as a pitcher in the offseason to try to develop that put away?
Yeah, Rick Honeycutt is working with both of them, but he doesn't want to work too much because they're in such consequential innings right now that you don't want to fully change their grip, or you don't want to fully change something in the delivery of their mindset. So he's just kind of trying to rub the edges off of and improve the ones they have. But I think in the offseason, there might be a makeover a little bit on a couple of them.
2 and 2. Puig has a long way to go, and he will track it down.
Well, he used 2 hands, but it was kind of weird that he kind of does a basket catch out there. A little bit. There you go. He had it all the way.
The basket catch served Willie Mays pretty darn well. Just another day at the office for Puig, and now Jansen is getting warm and ready. So Baez, after surrendering the leadoff home run to Castillo. 2 out and nobody on. 7-5 Dodgers. Here's Kalish. What does the shadow configuration do to the hitter's eye now, Nomar?
Not too much. And right now it's not too bad because there's a big shadow in where the pitchers are. There's kind of a slight, you see that little sun in between the pitcher and the batter. That's not big enough to really change what you see out of his hand. So everything is kind of in the shadow, so that is fine.
Of course, the right side of the field still in sun. Puig and Kemp, Gordon and Gonzalez. And the wind continues to blow in and toward right with 2 out in the bottom of the 8th. Get a sense this has been quite an effort for Baez today. 21 pitches. Gave up the home run to Castillo. But finishing off the hitters has been more of an issue today than we've seen lately. Kalish on 1 and 2. Do it again.
Young fastball hitting lineup, and if you have good breaking stuff, you probably go through this lineup like a hot knife through butter. And then once you prove that you have a good breaking ball, that's when your 93 to 97 mile an hour fastball, all of a sudden they get in between because they start thinking, and that's when you go through them even more with your fastball. But right now the Cubs have not respected really any of the breaking balls that Baez has thrown, or Frias when he was throwing.
Slowly hit to Gordon. Dodgers are 3 outs away from leaving Chicago with a magic number of 4. Baez gives up a leadoff home run to Castillo and shut him down after that. Go to the 9th with Gonzalez, Kemp, and Ramirez coming up. Kershaw will be pitching. Earlier in the year, the 2-time Cy Young Award winner threw his first no-hitter. And to honor the achievement, there will be a commemorative giveaway. The first 40,000 fans at Dodger Stadium. They open the 3-game set with the Giants tomorrow night. Compliments of 76. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Kershaw pitches Wednesday in search of his 21st in what will be his final start of the regular season. Here's Brian Schlitter, his 60th appearance, and he'll be facing Gonzalez, Kemp, and Ramirez. Oh, actually, check that. It'll be Rojas. Ramirez out of the game with a defensive replacement. Gonzalez grounds to second base, first out. Alexi Amarista with a sacrifice fly has given the Padres a 1-0 lead, still hitting in the bottom half of the 5th inning. San Diego 1-run, 2 hits. The Giants no runs and 3 base hits. Vogelsong and Kennedy are pitching at Petco. Now Matt Kemp, 3 for 4. 4 runs batted in. No balls and a strike. So Kemp has lifted his average to 285 with his great second half. Big swing and a miss, and it's 0-2. A pinch hitter, and then the top of the order for the Cubs in the bottom of the 9th. Coughlin and Baez, the top 2 hitters. Matt Kemp is living good. That's his 4th hit of the day.
Brian Schlitter also sped up his windup there to try to mess up with Matt's timing, and whether it did or not doesn't matter, because when you're swinging well, you get jammed and they're gonna find holes.
4 hits and 4 runs batted in for Kemp. Yasiel Puig has scored 4 runs today. And Miguel Rojas, the defensive replacement for Hanley Ramirez, his first at bat. wind is blowing directly in.
Yep, we got that.
And there are days in April in this ballpark when the wind is blowing in, you'd rather be in Siberia.
And pitchers throw it just right down the middle and say, how far can you try to hit it?
Exactly.
Go ahead.
If we throw it slightly in, we're like, oh, if you jam yourself, you're done for the day.
Oh yeah.
Your hands.
Oh, they hurt.
A ball, a strike, in and out. Out at second, that's all they're going to get. Two out. And Carl Crawford coming up. Here's Carl Crawford, who's 1 for 4. Uribe on deck. Dodgers 7 runs and 14 base hits, and Crawford just banged the 50th. Rojas will go to third. Second hit for Crawford. Greg Maddux, of course, inducted into the Hall of Fame. Ryan Sandberg, now the manager of the Phillies. Billy Williams, he and Ernie Banks, what a formidable 1-2 punch they provided for the Cubs in the 60s. And then, of course, Ron Santo, number 10. Fergie Jenkins. And let's play to Ernie Banks. Santo was just such a pillar of this organization, not only as a player but as a broadcaster, a beloved figure. We lost him a year or two back, and it was always a joy to come here. And working on the radio side, he would be immediately to my right, separated by the glass partition. And when the Cubs lost, which was often, he would put his head in his hands and, well, there's Juan Uribe singling to right, and the Dodgers get themselves a big insurance run. For Uribe, his second hit of the day, his 49th run batted in, and the Dodgers lead 8-5. Now that would make for a very bad day for the late Ron Santo.
How many times have we seen this where Juan Uribe will take the fastball to right field and hit the breaking ball to left, but he was staying back so well that he even took the breaking ball to right field. That ball slightly up in his eyes, responded to it correctly.
They're going to the 6th now at Petco, and the Padres with a 1-0 lead. So if the scores hold up, the Dodgers could fly home with a magic number of 3 and a 3-game series with the Giants. Either way, if the Dodgers hang on to their end of the bargain, they'll board the charter with a 4-game magic number. And a 4-game lead for that matter, too. Ellis fouls it back, and it's 0-1. So the pain of yesterday afternoon's loss was kind of lessened by the 3-2 Padre win over the Giants last night behind Cashner. And the Dodgers came out with the bullpen by committee. They've done their job, and the offense has done more than their fair share of the bargain with 8 runs and 16 hits on this Sunday afternoon. The Dodgers at this point on this road trip have scored 75 runs. 7.5 runs a game.
You know, Charlie, win the day. Magic number of 4. Take 2 out of 3 from the Giants and it's over. That'd be really a very nice script to have Clayton Kershaw standing on the mound on Wednesday pitching to win the division. Be an awful lot of fun for the Dodger fans and these Dodgers and Don Mattingly.
At just the year that Kershaw's had at every level, as Ellis grounds out, that'll end the inning. Talk about a cherry on top. Go to the bottom of the ninth, and the Dodgers lead by 3. 3 outs from a magic number of 4. At Wrigley Field, how did the bullpen by committee work out today? Pretty darn good.
Real good. I'll tell you what, it started off okay with Jamie Wright getting the 2 innings in, and then Carlos Friz hit kind of a bump in the road, but the 3 innings pitched above his name, not the 3 earned runs right there is the best thing. And then it really started to settle down after that, other than the solo shot that Pedro Baez gave up.
And of course, 8 runs and 16 hits would lessen some of that statistical blow, but at this point of the season, the Dodgers could care less how they get to the finish line. The fact is that they are now 3 outs away from getting 1 step closer. And here's Kenley Jansen in search of his 43rd save.
And if the Dodgers could pull off this win, I mean, you saw what the pitchers did today, but you got to also give credit to the offense as well to put the runs, recognizing what you're going out there, knowing that it's going to be the bullpen that you're going to rely on. So try to give them some confidence out there and some runs.
So Kenley Jansen, if he can record his 43rd save, the Dodgers will go 22 games over 500, and he delivers high 1 ball, no strikes. This is Rafael Lopez pinch hitting. Late season call up. .90, 1 ball, 1 strike. What did he say? Lopez laid on a 92-mile-an-hour fastball upstairs. Coghlan and Baez to follow. I hope the Dodger charter is getting warm and ready at Midway. And then the big 3-game series with the Giants tomorrow night. It's about 16 hours worth of that. You realize that? Lopez stays alive.
Got a piece of Jerry Davis behind the plate. A.J. Ellis will probably take a visit out to Kenley Jansen, give him a break.
Ow.
Ooh, that's about the least amount of padding other than bare skin.
That will leave a mark. Gary's been in the umpiring business at the major league level about 30 years. Out of St. Louis, crew chief, and that wasn't the first time he's gotten it. We found out this weekend why they call it the Windy City. 3-2. That's the last thing in the world Jansen wanted to do. Lead-off walk in the bottom of the ninth. Chris Coughlin last night, best night of his career. 4 for 4 walk, 2 home runs and a double. And the game-winning home run off Brian Wilson in the 8th inning, a 2-run shot, gave the Cubs an 8-7 win. Foul tip. Brian Wilson, Brandon Lee. All good in the hood. So tomorrow night, first pitch at Dodger Stadium, a little after 7:10. Dan Herron and Jake Peavy. Of course, Herron was supposed to start today, but with Ryu out of the mix, and we may see Ryu before this time next week. Went with the bullpen by committee to set up Herron against Jake Peavy tomorrow night. Zach Greinke on Tuesday night against Madison Bumgarner. And Kershaw goes for his 21st on Wednesday against Tim Hudson. 0-2 to Coughlin. Giants failed to score in the top of the 6th. Padres cling to a 1-0 lead at Petco Park. Giants offense just stalled in the past week. Oof. That's why they've got the protective netting.
Kenley Jansen just coming right at him with that fastball.
It's going to be the 12th pitch of the inning already. Gonzalez can't get it. That was tough. That was fraught with trouble there. They're going to hold the runners, second and third, and nobody out. First base umpire Greg Gibson.
That was one of those that you can see off the bat that was going to be an in-betweener and in trouble just by the first hop, and you're going, uh-oh, down the line, and Gonzalez unable to come up with it. And I'm sure if you talk to Gonzalez, he'd be the first one to say, you know, despite that being a tough hop, I should have had that. And
he also thinks it may have been foul.
Yeah.
Well, here are the Cubs threatening.
I think that was a fair ball. I think that bounced inside the line.
So the 9th inning RBI for your rebate turns out to be huge. 8-5, the Dodgers cling to the lead. Baez swings and misses, and it's 0-1.
I was going to say, do you think he's going to shorten up against Kenley Jansen?
No.
This is where that big swing of his, you know, it's dangerous because you make the mistake, he hits a mistake, and he hit it a long way.
A leadoff walk opens the door. Baez swings and misses, and it's 0-2.
Keep going right up the ladder. You don't need to bounce one. You don't need to set him up with something low. For me, his swing looks like he's better on the low ball than the high ball.
0-2, second and third in the ninth. Baez, after the blazing start, hasn't hit much for average, but Renteria said, hey, we're going to give him as much experience as we can from now to the finish line. Same thing with Soler, who got the day off today. The 0-2. Call, strike three. Jerry Davis did not like the reaction from the rookie.
I don't know if he thinks it was that far in. I'll tell you, from the angle that we see right here, that wasn't that bad of a pitch. It might have been just a hair in. But it wasn't as far in as Baez made it look by jumping out of the way.
Well, that's the first out. And Jansen is facing the second leading home run hitter in the National League, and Anthony Rizzo. Rizzo today 0 for 3, a walk and a run scored. Dodgers lead 8-5, second and third, one out in the ninth. Rizzo has faced Jansen 4 times, 1 for 4, and the one hit was a home run. Second and third. Rizzo. Jansen hasn't been fooling anybody.
He hasn't gone with any off-speed stuff. It's been strength against strength, the cut fastball or the four-seamer. If he's going to stay with the one speed, he's going to have to hit his spots.
A leadoff walk. The double for Coughlin. Baez struck out. And now 0-2 to Rizzo. To third. Uribe freezes the runners. 2 out.
Well, that was hit really well. Good job by Uribe staying on that ball. It was sharply hit. And at times when it's hit right at you, and also going from a lefty hitting it to you at third base the other way, the way the spin is on that ball, not an easy play. He made it look very easy. A good job staying with it, looking the runner back to third and getting the out.
So now the Dodgers are 1 out away from going home with a 4-game lead on the Giants and a magic number down to 4. Valbuena. High and outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Valbuena 2 for 3. A double, a walk, a run scored, and an RBI. One ball, no strikes. There's 1-1. 94. I think that was the fastest pitch of the inning.
And I think he'll stay firm all the way with Valbuena. Make him hit the ball to center field or to left field so the elements don't help him in right field.
Outfield straight away. Valbuena fouls it back. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Eight runs, 16 hits for the Dodgers. 5 runs, 8 hits for the Cubs. Second and third, 2 out, bottom of the ninth. The 23rd pitch of the inning is the last pitch of the game. And the Dodgers' magic number is down to 4. The lead over the Giants is 4. The Dodgers improved their record to 89-67 and go home with a chance to wrap it up against the Giants this week at Dodger Stadium. This afternoon's player of the game, Matt Kemp, and what a day he had. He went 4 for 5. 4 runs batted in. including his 23rd home run of the year. So the Dodgers, a successful road trip, win 6 of 10. And along the way, they score 75 runs. That's the Lexus player of the game. More importantly, he is the Lexus player of the game. And that's a wrap for us from Chicago. For Alana Rizzo, Oral Hershiser, Omar Garcia-Parra, Charlie Steiner, saying good night, goodbye, see you back home tomorrow. Stay tuned now for Access Sportsnet, presented by Hyundai.